Yo! Come one, come all, nothing but love, nothing but respect. You know what we do, what we don't, what we is, and what we isn't. And what we is here today, a day late. I'm sorry. Normally, you guys know that I get this out on in my time at least, I get this out on a Friday. But yo, here I am today. It's Saturday. Unfortunately, yesterday I was fairly ill and just did not feel up to streaming. But thankfully, I've avoided social media, put everything off, and organized the stream for now, just 24 hours later. But it is what it is. So yo, we're gonna get into the One Piece greatness. At this point in time, I assume you've all probably read the chapter, but if you haven't, alright, be sure to check out the chapter. The link to the chapter is in the description down below. You can go to the description, go over to my Discord, join the Discord, go over to chapter links. They all, for every series I do, chapter links get spat out there. So do yourself a favor. Make the transition to making your life easier by getting notifications when these chapters drop. It definitely will be easier for you guys and girls to enjoy the greatness. Alright? That being said, alright, we're going to get straight into this. But before we do, you know what to do. You know it's appreciated and all that good stuff. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for more notifications for content like this. Be sure to check out all the other socials. Like I said, the links to them are all in the description down below. But yeah, we're picking up, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little shook by the title of this chapter. Chapter 1046 of One Piece, Raizo. Just not expecting a Raizo chapter. I'm not gonna lie. I thought. All right, I'm a little shook here. All right, did you watch? This will end up being like one of the best chapters of One Piece, titled Raizo, because Oda just does that goofy shit. He does his stuff, you know what I mean? But yo, German 66's Cold-Blooded Voyage, Volume 9. Volume 9 already. How have we had the castle. We had Ichiji and Reiju and Judge leaving. We had Yonji and Niji captured. Then we had them getting transported. Them getting transported again. Them getting experimented on. And now this one. Oh, yeah, it's weird to think we're 9 volumes or 9 sections in on this, and like nothing has happened, but like we've moved on a fair bit. But a pair of intruders on Pudding's turf at Chocolat Town. Alright, that... Oh, hang on a second. That has me a little weirded out, I ain't gonna lie, because that kind of looks like it could be... Like, I feel like it's leading us to believe it's a Reiju and Ichiji, except you don't see any of the accelerators on their heels at all, right? That's number one. And number two... The one on the left has heels, which is stereotypically feminine, whereas the one on the right doesn't look like he has heels. But like, you have people like Killer that pre-time skip wore heels. So, and I know last chapter there was a fair few people theorizing that Blackbeard's crew was here, but that section was in Whole Cake Island. This is on like Chocolate Town, way on the fringes. So it's like, that's like a day and a half travel away. And it says a pair of intruders, so it is 2 people. Weirdly enough, the silhouette actually is kind of reminding me of Mr. Five and Miss Valentine. Ooh, I'm getting a phone call. I better turn that off. Sorry. I feel like the obvious... Well, see, everyone's running, so they're well-known people. The one on the right has some kind of, like, jeans or, like, long pants on. and the one on the left is leading us to believe it's feminine. Like, the one on the right looks like it could have been Law's silhouette. The one on the left, I want to say it's definitely a feminine look. So, I feel like the easy, safe answer is going to be it's Ichiji and Reiju, right? But like, everyone recognizes them, but does it make sense for them to immediately turn back into Whole Cake Island to try and get Niji and Yonji? Like, do they know Big Mum's left, and that's why they've turned around? Because they're like, oh yeah, we can beat anyone. But it's like, they've still got Katakuri and Oven and Cracker. Okay, I'm just gonna have to wait and see. All right. It's gonna be what it is. What would a crazy answer be to this, though? Like, this would be a fun way to reintroduce Crocodile. And maybe, like, Daz Bones, if Daz Bones now dresses like a superhero, like he wanted to. So, like, Daz Bones is on the left in his, like, Germa sort of outfit, and that's Crocodile on the right. That would be cool, because that would be really easily recognizable. But it's, like, it's weird that, like, the mayor is chill at AF, whereas everyone else is freaking and running for the hills. Right? So whoever it is, like, I want to say that they're going to be at least semi-strong. I just don't know if it, like, it... I'm getting too hung up on this. We're like 8 minutes into this video and I'm just stuck here talking about silhouettes. Alright, let's move on. I can come back to that. What should I call that last move? Gomu Gomu no something? Ooh. Hang on a second. Sorry. What should I call that last move? Gomu Gomu no something. Kaido has a question. Oh, okay, so that's the through. Oh, I almost forgot that. Yo, we're picking up with the through the head punch. Yo, let's fucking go! Just tell me one thing. Who the hell are you? Yo, Kaido's sprawled out on his back, grabbing his face. Luffy's just there. Boing, boing. Dum da da da. Dum da da da. Yo, who the hell are you? And look, Luffy's like, How nostalgic. That rhythm. Joy Boy. Hey. Joy Boy. It's as if you're right there. How exhilarating. This all feels like fate. I can't help but think. Well, okay, at least they're not doing the whole Luffy's a reincarnation thing, which I kind of like. Like, the wording there is like, obviously Zoe's like, this reminds me of him because he had the same ability, alright, I know it's not him, but yo, it just feels, it feels eerie. And we still see those world government ships chilling in front of Zoe. Or, actually, that may be a little bit of a trick of an eye thing there, because looking at that wave line almost looks like it's behind Zoe's back left foot. So Zoe may have passed those ships now. Okay. I mean, that could just be like poor distance gauging on my part, but if you follow the pen line that those ships are sitting on, it follows behind Zoe's back left leg, and Zoe's big enough to look like in front and behind them at any given point in time. So maybe Zoe's now finally passed them up, so maybe those government ships aren't just going to get wailed on. It's as if you're right there. How exhilarating. This all feels like fate, but I can't help but think that we should put our faith in this boy. Who, me? Say it with your chest down, Monkey D! Who, me? Monkey D. Luffy, the man who's gonna surpass you and become king of the pirates. With the shit-eating grin and those goddamn Rock Lee level eyebrows blowing in the wind. I love that shit-eating grin. Yo, that's the face of a determined man there. Glad to see you still got that big mouth, Straw Hat. We call this an awakening. Your mind and body are finally able to harness the potential of your ability. Yo, are you gonna say that and pretend like you didn't just say what you just said? Glad to see you've still got that big mouth, Straw Hat. We call this an awakening. He's talking from experience. This big ass lizard mother is a damn awakened zone. He's speaking like, oh yeah, no. This is just part of your awakening, buddy. Yo, dude. We call this an awakening. Your mind and body are finally able to harness the potential of your ability. And what a ridiculous power it is. Ooh, okay. I may have spoke too soon there. Kaido is awakened, I'm assuming, based on the way that's worded. But that could be him saying, in a way, that you're awakening as a zone, or... I mean, your awakening in general is just using your abilities without drawbacks to an extent. Because, like, Kaido, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but Kaido there could just sort of be saying, in a weird way, Kaido there's like, you know, if I wasn't awakened, I wouldn't be able to just spew lightning and borrow breaths out like they're nothing. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be doing wind slashes like they're nothing. It could be one of those things where it's like, he's just sort of like commenting on it, where he's like, yeah, no, when you're awakened, your body can just finally do what you want to do with your fruit. You know what I mean? Like, you can actually do some of the more grandiose things you have been thinking of doing with your ability. Oof, Yo, oof. Gundari meteor shower. And Luffy... Oh! Yo, the fucking attack speed here. I thought these were multiple Luffys here. No, this is Luffy in one, essentially liquefying himself like Katakuri does, right? But, like, obviously with the rubber body. Yeah. And he's just getting jousted with Conqueror's Haki. Kaido hits him, what? 1, 2, 3, 4... 1, 2, 3, 4. Kaido hits him at least 4 times. 4 or 5 times. Yo. Yami, good to see you in the chat, my dude. Man is awakened for sure. Yo, with that wording, it's hard to say that he's not an awakened goddamn beast. I've lost a lot in this. Yo, he's given himself a rundown. I've lost a lot in this war. My men, my castle, everything I've built here. But I suppose the same is true for you, huh? I'm not through yet. I'm taking back everything you've stolen, no matter what. Is that Luffy's arms? Wait. Wait a fucking minute. No, I'm blind, surely. That's, oh, chat. That's Luffy's hands, right? That's Luffy doing like a Gatling rush there. Because it's hard to tell, because he's got the smoke around him, but it almost looks like he's actually got his hands behind his head. And that this is rubber coming like out of his back. And just like rubber bulleting Kaido. And obviously with the awakening, it's turning Kaido to rubber, so it's doing mad internal organ damage here with the Conqueror's Haki. Nah, I want to say these are his hands. But we saw last chapter, when he does it with his hands, it leaves like a fist imprint. These are round, and it almost looks like Luffy's upside down with his hands behind his head, doing what Katakuri did, where he's like, this is way more efficient. Where Katakuri's like back turned into Mochi and punched the shit out of him. And this is round. It ain't fist shaped. I'm either reaching. I could be fucking reaching. Like, I could just be misinterpreting, because it does look like it's meant to be hands. There's some wild shit. Huh? Cough, cough. Yo, ooh. Okay, Luffy's spitting up some shit there. Okay. For fumes to reach up here, the whole castle... Oh! Ooh, the smoke. The whole castle must have gone up in flames. That means thousands of your men are trapped in the inferno down below. They're going to roast to death. I've left everything that's happening down there to them. I've got nothing to worry about other than sending you flying. Nah, man, went Kaneki style. When you say Kaneki style, is that you saying Katakuri there? I don't know. Like, I'm seeing multiple paths of trajectory, which could be like the normal gum thing, but I don't necessarily see no fish shape there. I'm just saying. Anyway, I've left everything that's happening down there to them. I've got nothing to worry about other than sending you flying. Ooh! Yo! Fucking Luffy. Man! Get out of here, man. I actually love this. Devastating gust, and Kaido just does an underhanded swing that just sends an invisible slash, because we know Kaido's slashes are invisible, right? Does an air slash, and you see it, right? It's like, oh, what? It's like nearly 8 meters tall, because it's like Kaido's height, right? And Luffy's pretty big at the moment, right? Like, Luffy's stretching and all that sort of stuff. So I'd say this attack's between Luffy and Kaido size, right? But when you see it hit that back rock... Oh, Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul. Yeah. I get what you're saying now, Yami. I get what you're saying. Yo, but fucking look at the massive slash. Like, I love how Kaido's wind slash, when it makes contact with something, it just goes... and blows up. Like, it expands colossally on impact. Yeah, when we're down in the car. Ooh, far out. Yo, that fire, I swear to you that this fire was not this bad like last chapter. Like, I understand vocally everyone's been like, oh my god, we gotta watch out for this fire, man. This fire. I swear we've seen shots of this and it's been nowhere near this bad. But yo, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6 levels. All on fire. Live floor, dome interior. Put it out. It's not just the castle. All the towers are going up too. Nami, you okay? What do we do now? The fire won't go out. Chopper. Yeah, Chopper's back to normal. Looking like his cute little ass. I can't find Zoro, Sanji, Frankie, Usopp, Robin, Brook, or Jinbei. I think they might still be trapped. Seriously? They actually straight up just said, they straight up just said, I can't find anyone else in the crew. I think they might be trapped. How can we reach them? Onigashima is basically a giant pyre now. Yo, if we don't see the citizens of Wano see this giant flaming skull in the sky this chapter, I'm straight up going to be like, they are the most inept, blind civilization in One Piece. How can we reach them? Onigashima is basically a giant pyre now. Even here isn't safe. There's nowhere to run unless we find a way to land. Zeus, what about your rain? A flame this big would just eat it up. Man! You're getting nerfed now, all of a sudden. Or are you saying, Zeus, that you always would have got your ass kicked by Prometheus? Yo, we swat to the basement. Basement castle interior. It's no use. We're surrounded. There's no escape. Damn it all. Beppo. You are the weakest link. You are the weakest link. I know the latest One Piece magazine, I haven't covered it yet, but I know in the some of the leaks from the One Piece magazine said that Beppo is definitively the second strongest on the Law Pirates, on the Heart Pirates, right? Zoro, alright, he's tied from King. That's fair. King, Kaido, and Big Mom. That's fair, man. That's fair. You down. Killer, you let Hawkins beat on you for a bit and then you low diffed him. Realistically, you should still be pretty, pretty on point, able to keep going a little bit. Beppo, you ain't even take out a number, you little bitch. You didn't even go so long. The only reason I find this any form of acceptable, right? The only way this is in any form acceptable is because you're getting heat stroke because you're a polar bear. Other than that, you a big ass bitch. I love you, Beppo. I really do. But you're here looking like you're dead. On death's door. No different to Zoro or Sanji in that, right? And the only thing you have done is play with some gifters. And I'm pretty sure in half of the panels we've seen you in, you weren't even messing with gifters. You were messing with the pleasurers. I'm sorry, man. You just step your game up. You're embarrassing your captain. Okay? You gotta step to your peers. Okay? We don't take days off. Alright? The moon's out. Get your ass up. Do something useful. No Beppo slander? Hey, this comes from a place of love. This comes from a place of love, man. I love Beppo. I have loved Beppo. Right? The fact that the magazine says he's capable of Sulong and we didn't get to see it, that's just disrespectful on Beppo here. And like I said, the only way this is acceptable if he's got that little bit of heat stroke going. You know, fire's hot. Fair enough. Beppo, I need you to pick up your game. Oda, I need you to show me with Beppo kicking ass, alright? I'm sorry, the man's had 2 years. You can't go from him kicking Kuma or a pacifista and go, oh shit, he's metal, and playing dead, and have him playing dead again here. I need you to show me Beppo doing something, please. Alright? Please. I'm not good with... Oh, okay, he did actually say I'm not good with heat. I should have read that before I said it. I'm not good with heat. You're being a real pain, Beppo. Yeah, it's hot. This might be it. I don't think we're going to make it. They even say, Captain, save us. True, would love to see... Dude, if we don't get to see Sulong in Wano, we are definitely having to see it in the final war of the series. I will not accept... I just won't accept it in any other way, alright? I have to see a Sulong Beppo. And it has to be in the story. Basement. My lord, how awful. You must have suffered a lot to end up like this. Oh, Brooke, I am so sorry. Yo, could you imagine just being unfortunate looking and every day of your life people are just like, ooh, are you okay? You look horrible. Like, that just constant reminder would be like, man, shut up. Ah, you must have suffered a lot to end up like this. What? No, I'm not a burned up corpse. You hear? We have to find a way to get everyone outside. There may not be one. Yo. Pleasure Hall, left brain tower. Yo, so on the outside. Yo, the fire's even reaching outside. Ooh. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Ooh, what's that crack under the skull? Is that the other side of Big Mom's lightning blast? Brooke got violated for... Dude, Brooke got... Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, Brooke got treated kind of poorly there. Like, there's always a bit of disrespect going around Brooke's way. Whoa. No good. Even if we get outside, the garden is gone. Oh, okay, so the whole... So that water section all got ripped up when Kaido lifted the skull. True. Basement, EB. It's a mild burn, man up. Break the wall already before we both die. Who cares if it costs you an up? Oh! Oh, was that crack Evie? What? No. No, surely not. Evie. There's no point in having a big body if you don't use it. EB? What, you want to go, bastard? Apu, you are crossing every fucking man on your side. You need to shut your big ass mouth up, alright? Close the lid on that piano ass face of yours, right? If you want anyone to ever help you, just zip it up. Basement. Lethal Green Star Sprinkler. Oh, Usopp, yo, your plan just got eviscerated. What? You're wasting your energy, sir. Shut up, I've got to do something. I made a promise to Izo. I'm gonna save Kin, Kiku, and myself to boot. Don't forget about me, sir. Yo, Hamlet, do your thing. Yeah, from Beppo to Zoro. Oh, fuck, wait a minute. Oh, fuck. That was some, that's some more weird paneling there. Right brain tower, the fire is getting out of hand. Yo, right there, it looks like Zoro has lost his hand. But if you look at the panel left of that, you can see that Zoro's arm is fine. Right? You gotta zoom in a bit, but it's like, you can see his arm's fine. But here, on this close-up, Zoro literally looks like from forearm down, his hand is like zombified. Which way am I even meant to go? I gotta find Chopper soon. Or Zoro's not gonna make it. We're gonna burn to death before that. Save us, big bro. Keep whining like a bunch of weaklings and I'll burn you myself. 4th floor, castle interior. It is ready, Jinbei Dono. I am truly grateful that you agreed to put your faith in me. Luffy decided to ally with you, samurai. How could I possibly doubt you? Now, let's go. Ooh, okay, they got some plan. Almost forgot the chapter was called Raizo there. Feels like we're about to get to the reason why it's called Raizo. The feeling is mutual. I believe in you as well. Ever since that day, I swore I would never be unprepared. Oh, okay, he's prepared for this because of Odin Castle. Right. Why, Toki-sama, Momonosuke, Hiyori-sama. Back then, I couldn't even protect my lord Odin-sama. Meanwhile, Momonosuke-sama and the rest of his family almost burned in the castle. Despite my ninjutsu, I was unable to protect any of them. Couldn't you have just, like, put your scrolls around the castle and soaked up the fire? Or am I poking a plot hole there? Anyway, protect any of them. I can't... Or actually, maybe... Oh, no, he did with the borrow breath. Maybe if there's too much fire around it, it'll burn up his scrolls. Whereas if it's facing front side of the scroll, he can absorb it. But I will never let myself be that helpless ever again. It's so. Inuarashi, what is this rain? It's Zunisha washing itself. What? What an insane amount of water. May I take some? I will not allow the men who bravely joined our raid to die here to a mere fire. Sorry for the delay, everyone. Prepare to be doused with an unbelievable... No fucking way. Ultimate supply of water. Ninpo scrolls, scroll jutsu. Nin elephant bath. Restoration. This man launches a dead-ass ocean at Jinbei. And Jinbei, like the fucking He-Man wannabe he is, just grabs it. Just, ha! How immense. Water heart, fishman jujitsu. Ocean current, shoulder throw. And this man just shoots a... This man throws a fucking Kamehameha wave. Right? This man throws a Kamehameha wave of water. Seawater at that. At Jinbei. And Jinbei's just like, redirect. Launches it like the big Samoan ass man he is. 3rd floor. Another dead end. We're done for, BB-sama. Like hell, after that battle, I won't let us lose to a lousy fire. Who started all the flames anyway? Yo. And Jinbei hits it so fucking hard, it breaks through the attic. It breaks through the, like, in-between floor, breaks through the next floor, and then it just keeps crushing down through every layer of the castle. Go, flood every corner of the castle. Please don't be too late. May the water of Zou rescue our comrades. Yeah, we're really getting a scene of all the right-hand men getting carried here. 1st floor, let me down. Come on, this is the least you can let us do for you, Killer-san. Okay, so Fuck, man. At least Killer's literally saying, like, dude, put me down. I'm G. I can go. Beppo's like, help me. I'm dying. And, I mean, Zoro's out for the count for good reason. This ain't no Zoro Lander. The man is out for good reason. Okay? Yo. Ow, hot. What do? There's nowhere left to go. Huh? Why is everything quaking suddenly? Yeah, and they just get hit with a flood, and Killer just get... Killer's a smile... Oh, he's a pleasurer now, but he's a smile fruit eater. This man can't swim. We just flooded a castle where, like, 2/3 of everyone can't fucking swim. Yo... Watch us go from a, oh, the fire's killing us, to, oh shit, everyone's drowning. Water, we're saved. Hurry, Momonosuke-kun. What? Why is Kaido... Wait, why? Kaido is still alive? He's at his limit. Huh? He won't be able to sustain his flame clouds much longer. It's up to you now. You need to make clouds strong enough to hold Onigashima. This was always our only option. Yeah, and she's just like she's literally has the fucking reins on Momo here. Just like, yo, yip up. Time to make some clouds. What? What the fuck? Onigashima is about to fall. Crackle. Taking the future into their own hands. One Piece is on break next week, of course. This little bitch! Yo, he out here like Wonder Woman. He just straight up grabs a bolt of lightning, just like, yeah. Is that Kaido's lightning too? Is that natural forming lightning, or is that Kaido's lightning? Because Kaido can summon lightning. And he just grabs it. Yo. Zeus, Luffy, going God mode. 100%! Yo, he's grabbing the fucking... Okay. Okay, one of three things here. Luffy's either making the lightning somehow and grabbing it. Kaido's made the lightning and Luffy's just able to grab it now because he's rubber, right? Or three, there's lightning, whether Kaido made it or not, and Luffy's using his awakening to turn the lightning to rubber, where he grabs it so he can hold a bolt of lightning and keep its form, and then throw it or use it as a weapon. If it's that fourth fucking one, does that mean this man can do this with other elements? Does this mean this man can, like, grab a borrow breath and do the Jinbei ocean tidal current throw and redirect? No, he just grabbed it, but I don't know if it's Kaido. See, no, but grabbing it, right? Is he fast enough to just, like, react and grab lightning? Like, is he holding himself up with the lightning? Or is he grabbing the lightning to you? Like, we're going to have to see this next chapter, surely. Because this will be the opening of next chapter, right? But I mean, like, seriously. There's a lot of implications behind that, is there not? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna get a live stream going. Hang on. I'm gonna get some people in, we're gonna have a discussion. Yo, Brecky, can you hear me? You in? Yeah, brother? Alright. I've just finished the chapter. You keen to go live? Perfect. Ah, no, that's good. It's good. Alright, I'm gonna unmute you now. You ready? Alright, we're good to go. Alright, so I'm just up on the last page now. Luffy can grab fucking lightning.
Yeah, I want to say something, by the way.
Yeah?
The chapter's name is Raizo.
Yeah.
Rai means thunder, and Zo means possessions. Literally taking possession of thunder.
Oda is crazy with the double meanings.
Yeah. Just googled it then because I was like, Raizo sounds like lightningy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder what Raizo means. I googled it and I was like, yep, that's it.
Okay, well, this wasn't one of those like 10 out of 10 chapters, but this was a good chapter.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it has to be. They have to start showing what other people are doing, right? You
Yeah.
can't just have them fighting on the rooftop while everyone's standing still for like.
But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, there's a few cool things that happen in this chapter, but there's a few standout things where I'm like, I need more information. Like, I don't know if you just saw this, but like this last panel, Luffy grabbing the lightning, right?
Mhm.
Is this naturally forming lightning, or is this lightning created by Kaido's devil fruit? That's my
I don't know.
that's my first quandary, right? Second thing is Luffy grabbing it because he's rubber. He knows he's immune to lightning from NL, and he's just like, we've seen like his thorax and stuff like that in the series. Is he just like, oh, I'm rubber, lightning doesn't hurt me, I'm grabbing it to use? Or is it, I can turn lightning to rubber with my awakening, grab it, keep it holding its shape, and use it. And when, like, it's a rubber when he wants it to be a rubber, so he can, form it or use it, but then it's lightning when he wants it to be lightning and attack.
Yeah, right.
Because, I'm on this mindset because of, earlier in the chapter, you had Raizo shooting the ocean current at Jinbei, right? And Jinbei just redirects it.
Yeah.
Say that was a borrow breath. Could Luffy, grab the flame and redirect it?
Well, that's the thing is yes, probably because of the way that his fruit works. So if he thinks that he can do it, essentially he'll just do it. Right?
Yeah. But
the thing that I think is really cracked now is Luffy still thinks that he has the rubber fruit.
yeah, and
all the weird stuff that he's doing right now in the back of his mind, he has to be able to think
he
I
can
do this
justify it.
because it's rubberish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas once he learns that he actually has this god fruit, it's possible that he can just sort of start creating it out of nowhere.
I'm gonna say this outright. Luffy right now, easy Yonko level, right? Luffy when he knows what his fruit is and how it works, above Pirate King, clean.
Yeah, it could eclipse that well. Yeah.
This is literally when Luffy understands what his abilities actually are, puts a bit of time into it, especially with how creative he is, he's going to dunk on himself now.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go back to the beginning of the chapter. Let's work our way through it from the beginning. All right. I got hung up in the beginning. I don't know if you watched it from the very beginning. Thoughts on the cover page with the Vinsmoke story?
Yeah, it seems like they're gonna take back the Vinsmokes.
Ooh, I was weighing out whether or not this is them or not.
Yeah, right.
Because, I mean, it doesn't look like if you look at the Vinsmoke, pull up a photo of any of the Vinsmokes in that, especially since they've got capes on here, right?
Yeah.
Which would mean they're in their raid suit form.
Yeah.
Their raid suits have got bubbles on the bottom of their shoes and accelerators on the back. These don't.
Don't they just have capes normally when they're not in the raid suit form?
They had it for the wedding, but not in their other clothes.
Okay. One thing that I did think is only Vinsmoke's left, right?
Yep.
Is Ichiji, Reiju, and Judge. I don't think Judge has the same kind of aesthetic that the brothers have. Obviously, Reiju, these looks like two guys to me.
See,
that was kind of a thought that I had was it doesn't seem like one of them would be Judge.
To me, it seems like a lady on the left, a guy on the right.
Actually, that's true because that's a high heel, right?
But
for the
Judge wears high heels. Killer pre-time skip wore high heels. It's not beyond men in One Piece to wear heels.
Yeah.
So it's I feel like it's being purposefully betrayed to be feminine masculine.
Yeah,
but
I get that now.
But it's silhouetted, so it could be a ploy. I was looking at this and I was like, dude, it honestly, in silhouette, right? If you took out the rest of the background and you just had those two silhouettes and I had to guess who they were, I would say Mr. Five and Miss Valentine.
Yeah, right.
but it's like, because it's the Germa cover story, it's got to relate to the Germa. But there's like a few things here. It's like, does it make sense for Reiju and say Ichiji having just escaped to turn back around to go get the other two? Why wouldn't they have already done it? You know what I mean? Like, why show them at the beginning of this story specifically leaving? If the story's going to involve them coming back.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
So, like, that leaves me to believe we're being set up to believe this might be them, for it not to be them. But then again, I might be overcomplicating it, and sometimes the simple answer is the easy answer.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing. It could. I think with things like this, the best thing to do is just to assume like the most basic thing.
Yeah.
And that way, like if Oda does want to throw in a fun twist, it's like, okay, cool, and you actually get hit by the twist, and it feels good.
Because
whereas, like if you start making up like crazy theories about what's going to happen, and then it's just what it seems like it is, it's kind of underwhelming.
well, I'll say this, right? The mayor is standing there, not phased at all, but all the citizens know who it is and they're running.
And he's thinking about chocolate from the looks of it, which is yeah, they're at Chocolate Town.
That just might be like his like, because he's from chocolate.
Well, wait. I think it's an exclamation point in chocolate squares.
Yeah. So like, I think the chocolate square there has nothing to do with it. I think that's just like him having like a you know what I mean? But the thing is, okay, whoever it is, the people recognize, but he's not phased. Maybe he's just a G who don't give an F, whatever. It would be a huge reach, but do you know what would actually be interesting and funny?
What?
We haven't seen them post time skip, but this would silhouette wise, this could also work if this is Crocodile and Daz Bones.
Right. Okay.
Because they've got that similar sort of aesthetic, and we've seen Daz Bones in the Miss Goldenwick's cover page series dress up like the Vinsmoke and wear heels.
Yeah. What would be their purpose of being here?
Well, I mean, Crocodile's goal is to still become Pirate King, right?
Yeah.
Best time to maybe attack Whole Cake Island is when Big Mum's not there. So it could be like it could be the very simple answer that it's just like, you know, it's Ichiji and Reiju, and that would make simpler sense, right?
Did the Vinsmokes get taken to Chocolate Town?
No, they got taken from Chocolate Town all the way into Whole Cake.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that it specifically says a pair of intruders on Pudding's turf.
Yes.
To me, it seems like they're there for Pudding.
So these people have just arrived. You know what I mean? They're on the outskirts of Big Mum's territory, so they're a day and a half away from where Niji and Yonji would be. Right?
Right.
A pair of intruders, it could very well, like, it sounds like it could just be the Vinsmoke. You know what I mean? Like, they can fly, so they literally could have flew back in, tried to go grab Pudding, and get her to help them navigate through the town to pick up Niji and Yonji. That could make perfect sense. You know what I mean?
Thing is, whoever's there, whoever that is, if they're there for Niji and Yonji, and you have to be able to beat at least Smoothie, probably also Katakuri.
Smoothie's not there.
Oh, true.
Smoothie's...
Or at least Katakuri there.
But Katakuri, Cracker, and
Katakuri,
Oven.
Cracker.
Right?
Snack.
And Snack. And that's assuming that Katakuri, Cracker, and Snack are actually conscious now after their respective defeats.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree if they were like a little bit weakened.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be up.
Well, they could.
There has been a bit.
They could be, say, in their rooms or like at the medical facility or something, recovering. So we see them, but we don't see them do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I don't know if they would let Reiju and Ichiji just like run, like you were saying, a day and a half's journey all the way in.
Yeah.
Get their brothers and then leave. Like, I feel like within that day and a half, Katakuri would be strong enough to like not at this full level, but still fight.
I mean, like I said, if this is Reiju and Ichiji, it could be a hostage thing, like kidnap Pudding and say we'll trade you.
Right.
right?
It's possible, yeah.
The flip side, which is me like just wanting something really out there and creative, right?
Mm.
Is okay if this is Mr. One and Crocodile making a comeback, they could be trying to, while Big Mom's out of her territory, get their own version of a road poneglyph or something like that, right? And as they make their way through the territory that's already been run down while no one's there, you have Mr. One come across, say, Niji and Yonji, and is like, Captain, we've got to free them. And then once they're freed, it's their journey coming back to meet up with Reiju and Ichiji.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It could even be like, and this is like a super out there thing, but it could be even like they kidnap Pudding, just leave with Pudding because they want her for some reason because of her ability or something.
Yep.
And then after this arc, we have like another power up thing where like Sanji tracks down whoever these guys are on his own, beats them. That's his training arc. Zoro goes finally fights Mihawk. We cover that. Beats him. That's his big upgrade. Usopp goes to Elbaf, does all that shit, gets a big power. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Then maybe even like some crazy shit like Nami goes up and like finds like Enel or something.
I mean,
And,
okay.
like, Zeus gets a power up from Enel.
I mean, here's a question. With Pudding's memory abilities, you know how she can take memories and implant them in other people?
Yeah.
If she did that from a strong person to a weak person, could she do that to train them how to use Haki? Not saying it would ever happen, but I was like, low key, it's like, could you just do that?
Oh, I think it would. Yes, I don't think it would be like a direct download. It would help you
Yeah.
because it would give you memories of like using and harnessing.
Like
Haki
you'd
properly.
you wouldn't be like Luffy in if you could use Haki already, and you downloaded Luffy's memories of like learning Rio, you could then go, I already have that, like I understand how to do it. I'm capable of normal Haki. Let me just whoosh. You wouldn't need the like 2-week training period.
Yeah, it would be like, you know, like some people can't even like flex certain muscles of theirs.
Yeah.
Like if you just like jumped in their body and then like started flexing their muscles, they'd be like, oh, that's where it is. I know how to do that now.
Yeah.
But it's more, they've had experience feeling it, but they don't like they can necessarily do it right away.
Hang on. I'm gonna look up hang on a second. Alright. I'm gonna put a photo up in the Discord. Okay. And now I actually have to find which photo I just saved. There we go. So it could be something like that. You know what I mean?
What am I looking at?
Uh,
Like these two people.
Yeah, so like I said, Croc and Daz Bones. But see how Daz Bones is
Yeah, right.
like we haven't had them show up post time skip, and low key, like I understand people being like, oh, Oda wouldn't do that. Oda wouldn't introduce them there or in this capacity. But it's like, dude, X Drake's post time skip reveal was in a cover page series.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's because that cover page ended with having relations with Kaido. This cover page having relations with the Germa. You know what I mean? And the fact that Daz Bones sort of dresses like that, it would be interesting if they incorporate that.
Just feel like having Pudding, being able to take someone's memories out and putting them into someone else. It's like the perfect interrogation tool.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just rip their direct memories. So if Crocodile's main goal, right, is to find one of the weapons, the ancient weapons, if you know someone who knows where an ancient weapon is, but obviously it's like, it doesn't matter how much I torture them, they won't tell me. get
Dude.
pudding, and they'll just literally rip the memory out of their brain and give it to you.
Dude! Dude! Big Mom missed. She missed. All she had to do was capture Robin, right?
Yeah.
Take her back, have Pudding interrogate her, steal the memories of how to read the poneglyphs. Done deal. You've won.
It's true. Although she'd still have to get the fourth poneglyph, right?
Yeah, but I
Which
mean,
means-
she would at least be able to read all the other ones, so she'd be able to get those directions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, big true.
Big Mom, you missed an opportunity there. All right, let's,
Probably so many like devil fruits that people hunt. You eat this devil fruit and you're like, you know what I mean? Like imagine if you're like a random civilian, and then you somehow magically come across like a devil fruit and you're like, oh, this is awesome! Like I could eat this. You don't know what it's gonna be, and if it's something like violet's fruit, where you can like kind of like clairvoyance kind of deal, like, it's not gonna make you be able to defend yourself or like fight that well. But people are gonna be like coming to your island just to like steal you away and force you to work for it.
Okay.
It'll suck.
we need to talk about the elephant in the Yonko system, Blackbeard, and the fact that he's hunting devil fruits, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that we've only had what 2 devil fruit reveals from his crew.
Mhm.
We've had the invisibility fruit and the fox fruit.
And everybody always thinks about these fruits as if it's like, oh, you want to get like a really powerful Logia or something, but it's like realistically, difference on a Yonko's crew of having a clairvoyant and not having a clairvoyant is fucking giant.
Mm-hmm.
Or like having like pudding or
Dude.
not having pudding. Like if you beat another Yonko and you have pudding, every like person that you capture alive,
Okay.
you will know all of their memory.
I'm just
The amount of secrets you would have.
I'm just putting this into perspective though, right? Arguably, every single member on Blackbeard's crew could be, say, around Doflamingo level. Because all of them, all the new members were in Impel Down level 6, right? So they're at least worth 100 mil. But it's not just like, oh, they're at least worth 100 mil. They fucking low diffed every other 100 mil person in their cell.
Walked out of there smiling.
Yeah. They walked out of there so clean that as a group, they were all like, let's roll up on a Yonko.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know I joke about them quite a bit because it's like, oh, I mean, are you really that excited for a group of losers? People that have already lost and been captured? But at the same point in time, it's like, dude, think of that, right? All of them are around that BS level.
Mhm.
Now imagine giving them a fruit, even just a basic fruit on top of that. And some of them are getting mythical zones.
Mhm.
Like, these people could be some crazy ass people. You know what I mean? Like, I was thinking about this today, and I was like, this chapter, right? You know how Kaido does that invisible slash?
Yeah.
And how, like, all of his wind slashes are invisible, and we've been told that repeatedly during this fight, right?
Yeah.
Zoro's able to block that, because he's able to see it coming. Like, he can understand the trajectory, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're not Zoro, like, when it comes to Zoro versus Shiryu, Zoro's going to be able to tell where Shiryu is, because even if it's an invisible slash, once he sees something get cut, he'll know.
I wanted to mention something, by the way, about that slash.
Yep.
He does that off his Kanabo, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The time that he used it previously, it was a breath attack, was it not?
Yeah.
Is it possible that Kaido's awakening, when he goes into that awakening form, like I was saying the other week, how I was like, I think he can probably just like control the weather way
Yeah.
more. I think he can just kind of like shoot the weather off of his Supernova and stuff like that.
Look up.
This is possibly like a little bit of his, and that's the thing is, he was talking about awakening
Yep.
just before he did that.
Yep, so I was going to bring that up to you. He's 100% awakened based on that dialogue, because he's explaining to Luffy what awakening is. And it's not from an objective observer. It's your mind and body are finally able to harness the potentials of your ability.
Mhm.
To me, that's like Kaido is awakened and he's able to use awakening, whether he's used it yet or not. Right? But like you said there, he didn't use his breath there for that devastating gust. He's just able to create a wind slash.
He's never done a borrow breath or one of those wind slashes before without using his breath.
Yes.
So yeah, to me that seems like
And
an extra ability that he's never shown.
and I should note this is separate because he's used his arrow attacks. His arrow attacks are a projectile slash using his blunt kanabo.
Right.
Like if you go back to him versing
Yamato.
Yamato, right? Yamato uses her arrow attack, and then he uses his arrow attack, and you see it's a blunt force impact. This is a specific slash, and he says devastating gust, implying it's wind based.
It's wind, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was even noticing because it's like we're not too sure how tall Luffy is in Gear 5, right?
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah. Holy shit, he stretched far. Hey.
but like Kaido. So Luffy's, around he's under 2 meters, but say Luffy's 2 meters, Kaido's 8 meters, right?
Yeah.
That wind slash is between 2 and 8 meters tall, but once it makes an impact, look how big it expands.
Yeah. True.
Like it has explosive impact damage.
I would say that's taller than the height of Kaido if he stood up straight.
Yes, I would agree. So it's not
Pretty insane.
it's like Zoro's slashes only slash in like the trajectory of the sword. This slash is a bit different, and the reason why I just sort of like zeroed in on it is like the dude literally his attack does more damage on impact. That is I like Kaido has just been so impressive.
Yeah, legit.
Like I don't think I think it's actually going to be really hard, and it's hard because Luffy's a joke, right? But it's like
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be far. I think it's gonna be hard to find someone that's a better combatant overall than Kaido. There may be
It's
people
so
that are
hard,
more
and,
potent.
Like, and Luffy cops the Gundari meteor shower here.
Yeah.
He's saying like ooh ah, but it's so hard to tell how much it's hurting him or like
Okay.
if it's hurting him. And then the same thing when he punches Kaido back and does the weird stretchy thingy. It's so hard to tell how much he has actually hurting Kaido. Like it's weird because they just keep going at each other over and over again.
I have to go through something with you fucking crazily right here. Okay, so let's scroll up a little bit. So okay, we have Kaido getting up after that punch through the skull last chapter, right?
Yep.
I want to note, and I don't know if you want to go back and check that last punch last chapter. You could see Luffy's fist, like the full hand, through the skull.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You remember that bit?
Yep.
Okay. We go through this little bit of dialogue, which is like essentially Zoe just saying Luffy's not a reincarnation, but he's just like got the same devil fruit. So that's good clarification here. But then we get this Kaido versus Luffy bit, right? Kaido talks about his awakening, and I don't know how to interpret this. Maybe you can have a look and tell me what you think, right? But Kaido talks about his awakening, and then if you actually think about it, Luffy uses his awakening like Katakuri here. Luffy liquefies essentially his body into like a liquid rubber to absorb the impact as much as possible, even though he can't dodge, right? And it's not like Luffy's getting hit multiple times dodging. All these attacks are hitting him essentially instantaneously together. And Luffy's just turned to like liquid rubber to let the impact just go. Like he's
like literal paper body. It's like what
Yep.
the CP agents are trying to become
Yep.
with paper body. Except he's just actually doing it.
So he arguably goes from mimicking Katakuri's ability there, right? To liquefy himself. To in this attack, see how Luffy's turning Kaido to rubber and hitting through him?
Yeah.
See how they're bubbles and not fists, like the end of last chapter?
Yeah, right.
Is Luffy actually upside down with his hands behind his head, and that's actually rubber coming off his back? Or are those his fists? Is he doing what Katakuri did when Katakuri said, this is a way more efficient way to use this ability when Luffy was fighting Katakuri? And you know how he made all the fists come out of his back?
Yeah, okay.
Is Luffy mimicking that?
It's hard to tell.
Because, and I'm struggling here, because I know you got like the whole wind cape on Luffy, but to me, if you look at where Luffy's X-shaped scar is, it looks like Luffy's putting his hands behind his head, and then all these bits are like rubber bullets shooting off his back with Conqueror's Haki, and that's why they don't have a fist shape once they've gone through Kaido like that other hit.
It is possible. So hard to tell in
Yeah.
that little photo if that's his arms or not, because it could just
Yep.
be the cowl,
Yep.
like you were saying.
But the problem is also the attack. Like if you look at that, right, and compare it to the last attack from last chapter,
Mhm.
it is significantly different in the way it's depicted.
Yeah. Because this one like goes just a little bit into him, whereas the other one, his arm like goes literally through his head.
But it's also
Whereas this one's kind of just like pushing into him.
but it's also the bubble aspect. Like in this chapter, it's literally like it looks like drops of water, right?
Yeah.
Whereas last chapter, you can actually see the full like fist. Like if you go and look at the last chapter, right?
Isn't it just like the arm going through the head?
Yeah, but you see like the full fist. You see a proper hand outline. Whereas in this chapter, it's teardrops. So it doesn't look like it's an actual fist. It looks like Luffy's shooting chunks of rubber off his body like Katakuri that are like just rounded, stretchy bits, right? No different to when Luffy gets shot and that like bullet sort of like you know how it like does that sort of like you've pushed a chopstick through him.
Yeah, I see that, but I mean, the thing is, like, because it actually looks like it's going through him here, it could be that, like, if instead he went, like, a little bit into his head, it could bubble out, you know what I mean?
No,
I don't know, like you make a good point, like, it is yeah.
Well, it could just be inconsistency and easier to draw it with the bubble aesthetic this chapter, right? But like to me, one's clearly a fist going through him, right?
Mhm.
Whereas the others, arguably, it looks like his hands are behind his head, and these things are shooting off after he's just mimicked an ability of Katakuri's, mimicking another way that Katakuri literally tells him, you should use your devil fruit like this.
Yeah, that's true. And that would make sense, because Luffy's whole mentality right now is, I can finally do all the things that I couldn't do before.
Yeah.
It's like he's literally like, okay, cool, now
So-
I can finally do all that shit that Katakuri was telling me that I can do, but I actually couldn't do it. He
Yeah.
was just being a dick. He was just saying, "Oh, you can't do this," basically.
Yeah, and part of the reason for that as well is if you look at this in this chapter, most of the time, if Luffy's using a Gatling attack, right, it looks like the panel above where Kaido's using the Gundari meteor shower, where you see the fists, but you don't see where they originate from.
Yeah, right.
Whereas this looks like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blobs shooting off and hitting him all together.
Yeah.
So to me, and feel free to fucking tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm reaching or whatever. To me, it looks like he's actually like mimicking what Katakuri told him to do here with Advanced Conqueror's Haki and his awakening, and he's got that free body manipulation where he's literally just like you know the whole thing where it's always been Luffy saying like gum pistol. This is now the gum pistol because he's literally like making a bullet out of his body shoot you.
Yeah, I think you definitely have a good point. Like, I can't see any reason to like straight up refute it. I think it very well could be coming out of his back. I can't really say for certain whether or not he has his hands behind his back. I think that's just like anyone could say that he does or he doesn't. So I don't think there's a way to be like, this is definitely what's happening, but like it's definitely a good interpretation.
Look. I mean, shit. I literally set this up by saying, look, I could be wrong. I could be reaching. It looks this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, if this
No, I
isn't,
think it's pretty- I mean, I'll believe you for now.
if this is an actual ability though, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the next, like, imagine when Luffy comes up against a top tier sniper in the series, right? Like, imagine like the Blackbeard Pirates roll up on the Straw Hats, right? And Van Orga gets cocky again, and like he did against Ace, takes a shot at Luffy, right?
Yeah.
And like Van Orga's like, oh, I know he's a devil fruit user. I've got Haki on the bullet, and it does the normal thing where it just stretches Luffy back because Luffy's awakening, and I mean Luffy can use Haki anyway, so arguably he could block the bullet with Haki, right?
Yeah.
But instead of just shooting the bullet back, he comes back with one of these attacks with like a Conqueror's Haki punch and shoots a bullet into like Van Auger or something with his like bullet body.
Yeah, that would be good.
Also, mind you, these have all got Conqueror's Haki on them. They are doing some like pretty crazy damage.
That's what I was going to mention, by the way. Even in the before and when Luffy's getting hit, this essentially means is that no one now, at least when Luffy's in his awakening form, no one who doesn't have Rio can hurt Luffy, right? Same way that no one can hurt Kaido.
Rio
Because-
or Conqueror's
Or,
Haki.
like internal. Yeah, well, like internal. Because like when you look at it, the way he's getting hit, on the outside of the spikes, there's like a little like
Yeah.
saying that there's like force still going out.
Yeah.
So it's seeming like not only is he hitting him, but he's hitting him and like projecting Conqueror's Haki out into Luffy itself. Whereas if he wasn't projecting that Haki out, he would just be hitting Luffy like a wet paper bag. It would be doing nothing to Luffy.
Mm-hmm.
So like anyone who doesn't have like this top, like Luffy is now literally like Yonko level, into the point where anyone who isn't top level can't even hurt him, as we're seeing here.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing with Big Mom and Kaido.
Which-
Like, you just can't hurt them.
This is gonna lead into like the hardest conversation going forward that I can't wait to have answered, and that's how does a top tier, if say the admirals have the same Haki, right?
Yeah.
How do their devil fruits play into this? Because we've been told throughout the entire story the best devil fruit definitively is Logia's. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, I would say we were told that the best devil fruit is Logia's until the reveal of mythical zones, and then technically they didn't say that mythical zones were better. They just said that they were rarer,
Yes.
but it kind of seemed to imply it. I guess that's arguable.
Well, I mean,
It's definitely arguable, but I mean, like when you think about it, like Fleet Admiral Sengoku mythical zone.
I mean, we've almost got a.
Yonko right now mythical zone.
They're almost 1-for-1 equal in rareness now, though.
Yeah, that we've seen. Yeah.
Yes.
But they said that
Even
mythical
rarer.
zones are significantly rarer.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they said.
Yeah. But I mean, and it's hard, right? But they've said multiple times that a Logia is the best type of devil fruit, right?
Yeah.
It would be really interesting to see, like, because obviously Haki plays into these things a lot, right? It'd be interesting to see how Haki plays into some of the higher tier levels of devil fruit, because we've seen Jinbei block Akainu temporarily with regular armament Haki, not Rio, and it burnt him, but he was able to tank it a bit. You know what I mean? But it's like, with elements, we've never seen how elements interact with Haki. If that makes sense. Right? Like, could a good example, right, would be like, you know how like Doflamingo, or okay, you know how Whitebeard didn't get frozen by Aokiji?
Yeah.
Say Aokiji stabs him with his ice blade, and it's like, and in this hypothetical, Aokiji has advanced conquerors in Rio, right? So he's able to pierce him. Say he does it to someone like Kaido, right?
Yep.
Once he's made a pierce, right? Once he's made an incision, could his devil fruit then do significant more damage? Because once he's pierced you, he can freeze you from the inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Really
gonna get to that hard stage, because it's like we're at a difficult point where like they have been left until later. But but it's like, I'm not gonna lie, right? Fights in One Piece don't necessarily always beat the previous fight. It just so happens that the Katakuri fight was the best fight in the series, and then got overshadowed by this fight.
And here's the thing as well with the Logias is like, there's not even that much of a guarantee that many of the main characters are actually going to fight the Logia people. Like when you consider it, like Iceman is Gornsky's, like seemingly we're not really going to fight against him unless he's actually straight up on Blackbeard's crew.
Okay.
And then you've got like now you have Gravity, which is not Logia,
Logia.
and then Green Bull, which people are speculating might be a Zoan, and I think it's probably less chance that it's going to be a Logia.
It's either a Paramecia or a Zone, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like it won't be a
I-
Logia.
If it's a
So-
paramecia, it'll be a broken paramecia like Fujitora, or
Mhm.
it'll be a zone to match with Kizaru being a Logia and Fujitora being a paramecia. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's hard. Speaking of, right?
Mhm.
A thought came to me the other day that I had never viewed it in that frame of mind before, and I just went, "Oh shit!" Right?
Mhm.
So our Kiji is on Blackbeard's crew, right? At the moment.
Huh?
In the situation that he's a double agent, or in the situation that he turns on Blackbeard, do you know how fucked he is? Like, even if he like turns while the whole crew's asleep and one shots the entire crew other than Blackbeard, do you know how fucked he is?
Because of Blackbeard.
Yeah, I forgot this, right? Because I never attribute the same thing to Blackbeard that I do to Whitebeard. Aokiji can't freeze Whitebeard because he's an earthquake. He's always like he can't be frozen,
Yeah, that's true.
which would mean Blackbeard can never be frozen.
Oh.
Which would mean Aokiji is literally outside of Haki, dead ass useless against Blackbeard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a hard perfect counter, and that's without even using the Yummy Yummy no Mi.
Yeah.
If this man is a double agent, he legit just signed his death sentence.
And you could still just like throw like spears and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like his only way of fighting is to like
But
touch people.
but to throw those spears, we've seen the Quake literally just de-atomize them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's hard. It's crazy. It's crazy to like. I never thought about that Blackbeard can't be frozen.
It'd be really interesting to see Blackbeard have some kind of like perfect defense where every time something touches his body, it immediately shoots an earthquake back at whatever touches him.
Ooh.
Like when he activates it, basically he's just standing there. Anything that touches him gets quaked away from him.
If
He
he's
punches
mastered it a bit, like, because we don't talk about this
Yeah.
ever, but like we don't.
It's possible that like to have that power, it's like an awakening-esque power, and maybe like Whitebeard didn't have the stamina to use his
I mean,
awakening.
low key, we never saw like we saw Whitebeard do some crazy stuff with it, but we saw Whitebeard do simple crazy stuff with it.
Yeah, they were like technique things. Like I'm just gonna grab here and like move it this way, and it'll do this.
And that sort
It
of
wasn't like Yeah.
fits Whitebeard's aesthetic, where he was just a straightforward, up and down, like fight me face to face.
he's a man's man.
Yeah, he's like Frankie in the sense, like Frankie in Senior Pink, where it's just like, you want to do punchies, bitch? I'll do punchies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it how like the most brutal shit in technology is like chemical warfare and stuff. But Frankie's like too much of a boss to do that. He's just like, no, I will fight you with steel.
Dude, Meanwhile, Queen's out here. Queen and Jack are out here, just like they beat us up.
Every scum under the sun.
Oh, wait, you want a red hot take?
Alright.
So I'm going through rereading through Thriller Bark at the moment.
Huh?
Oars Luffy is taking
I thought I saw that hot take.
is taking
I want to know your justification.
is taking from Jack down on the Beast Pirates crew, no questions asked.
Jack down.
Yeah.
Was Luffy.
Yep.
So this is when Luffy's shadow gets put into Oars' body.
Yep, 100%.
Then remind me about it because it's been a long
Yep,
time.
yep.
Straw Hats fight it.
Yep. The entire Straw Hat crew fights it, and then Nightmare Luffy fights it.
Right.
And
Yeah, and then Nightmare Luffy is like, yeah.
and I would put it out there at this point in time, that crew is worth 667 million or 647 million in total.
Whole crew put together
Yeah.
in bounties.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, like everyone on the rooftop was probably equal to Yonko, but they weren't winning, were they? Equal to Yonko's bounty.
What do you mean?
Well, I guess like Luffy's bounty plus Zora's bounty plus Ian's bounty plus Law's bounty.
They were still under one Yonko with all their bounties put together.
All of them put together? Surely not.
Luffy's 1.5, Law's 5, so that's 2.
I guess the Yonko are like 4 point something.
Zoro,
thinking,
yep,
like-
yep. Zoro and Kid, so that's 3. And Killer there, 3.2 mil. Oh, mil.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah, well, I was thinking of like Blackbeard's like 2.5, whatever it is.
yeah, but even then, Blackbeard, we don't talk about Blackbeard. But yo, Nightmare Luffy, Oars Luffy, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't remember this in the anime, right? I just I don't even think they animated it like this. But rereading it in the manga, that motherfucker can shave.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He can do the Gatling and all that
I
stuff.
remember you showing me that a while back, yeah.
Dude, uh, there's a scene where all the Straw Hats go to hit him point blank in the face, and he shaves and does a quadruple backflip away, and then counters.
I'd have to think about it a lot more, because the thing is that, like, realistically, Zoro and Sanji, I guess, like, Monster Chopper might be, like, kind of helpful. It's just, like, none of them are that, like, what the hell is Robin gonna do? Other than just, like, hold his legs a little bit. You know what I mean? Like...
Against
doesn't-
Oars.
Yeah, against Oars.
She tried to crack his bones and all that.
She like, grabbed his neck, didn't she? And,
She
like, pulled him
she
back
pretty
and
much
stuff
does
like that.
she pretty much does to him what she tried to do to Big Mom.
I remember what they did to take him out, right? They, like, bent his back heaps far back and then had Luffy, like, punch him in the head and, like, went down his spine and, like, broke his back.
That didn't even take him out.
Oh, God.
Mind you, he is a zombie there, so it's kind of like
Yeah,
if he
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
if he was a living, breathing person, maybe not.
He'd
But
be
then
cool.
again, like I'm talking about like
Tell you what, I'll give that to you. I can't really think of any arguments.
I mean
Against it.
even
I
then
mean, okay, I guess my only argument, okay, the only thing that I would say is, Dofi at the war, like, with no effort at all,
Mhm.
chopped off the leg.
and to me,
of-
Dofi is above everyone in the Beast Pirates other than King, arguably Queen.
Actually, yeah, I'd actually kind of say that as well.
And
So that's fair.
and in that same vein, right? I don't know whether or not Nightmare, like whether or not Oars Luffy could have a go at Queen or not, because Queen is so hard to gauge with the invisibility and the lasers. Like a Diablo Jumbo Sanji is destroying Queen's metal, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, shit, I don't know if you remember, but an Oars Gatling at shave speed is wicked intense.
I feel like I didn't have the same appreciation for Queen that everybody else did, which is weird because I have the same appreciation for Sanji. When Sanji got his big power up, I was like, yeah, fuck it, he's awesome now. He's super strong. But I look at Queen and I'm just like, yeah, he's kind of garbage. And I feel like people actually give him props, and I kind of give him. I'm like he's better than Jack, but to me, he's just as much of a letdown.
I'm gonna say this:
Letdown instead of a third division letdown.
all the Beast Pirates to a touch were a bit of a letdown, and that's coming off getting overhyped from the Big Mum Pirates. You know what I mean? Like the Big Mum Pirates.
The only thing I'd say is required Zoro to have Conqueror's armament to beat King.
Oh,
Which, like, as soon as Luffy got Conquerors,
okay.
all of us collectively were like, "Oh, he's gonna 1v1 Kaido now."
We need to have a whole stream about this, because I don't know. I may have talked to you about this a while ago. I was in a massive random Twitter feud with people about Zoro and power scaling Zoro,
Love it.
and
Of course.
I mean, dude, it is a nightmare because, and I love Zoro. You know, I love Zoro. He used to be my favorite character. Pre-time skip, he was my favorite character, hands down. But yo, some people, like I had an argument where someone was saying like, when I was saying like, you know, Zoro cuts people and his different techniques leave different levels of cuts based on like how many swords hit or where they hit, right?
Yeah.
And how much damage they do. And sometimes you can tell whether or not Zoro is doing enough damage or not against someone, because he'll do a technique that leaves a set amount of injuries, but only a certain amount of injuries will have actually landed, meaning like, you know, one of his swords wasn't strong enough to do it. And I got into a whole argument about how nowhere in the story has Zoro ever cut someone with 3 sword style and left 3 injuries. And I brought up multiple examples, and they dead ass tried to tell me those aren't injuries, that's just blood splatter. And then I got berated for being dumb, and then I got told that certain blood splatters weren't blood splatter, it was just like awkward shading on the panel and that. And I'm like,
As soon as someone turns it into like, oh, you're stupid, it's like they're not trying to have a
Dude.
conversation, right?
but like,
Just a dick.
and I conceded to them because they were bringing up some good points and that, and I wasn't fully prepared to like, you don't have every single panel
Yeah.
memorized.
You
Unless-
can't beat a Zoro tied at their own game.
But dude, one of them was saying like Zoro was, messing like Zoro was doing all sorts of crazy stuff in the rooftop fight, right? And I went back and looked at it, and it's like, dude, when Zoro did Ashura against Kaido, there's 3 sword trajectory paths and only 1 injury. And if you look at it, before and after Kaido was talking about the sword, and if you look at the panel, I never noticed this at the time. Enma's coloured different, like the haki around Enma's coloured differently to the haki around the other swords.
So, like only Enma had conquerors on it.
Yeah, well, there was like black aura over the sword apart from the haki, whereas the other swords just had like a white aura around them still.
Yeah, right.
And then, yeah, but I want to have a whole damn stream about that, breaking down that at some point. But that is not for today. Yeah, let's move through this. So Luffy is still doing his Loonsy tuning it up, and I love how he does the whole, cartoon lift your pants up to dodge an attack.
Yeah, yeah.
That is funny as hell. But scrolling down a bit, we have Beppo KO'd from heat. Beppo has done nothing this arc.
Yeah, I think it's just like because he's a polar bear kind of meme.
Do you have any idea how upsetting it is to have not gotten to see Beppo do anything? And I don't know if you've seen this. Magazine 15 of One Piece came out. It hasn't been fully translated yet. Beppo's considered the second strongest on the Heart Pirates because Sachi and Penguin have seen how strong he fights in his Sulong form. So he's capable of using Sulong.
Right.
And we just never saw it.
Wait. He said he's considered the second strongest because...
Yes.
So potentially when he's not in Sulong, he's not the second strongest?
So definitively, the other two don't even question it because they've seen him in Sulong. But when he's not in Sulong, there's more of a like, who could be the second mate?
Right.
But they just regard Beppo in that title anyway.
Yeah, right. Which is fair.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're kind of equal at base and then you potentially get way better, it's like fair enough.
Now, I've got 2 weird questions here. Well, not weird. I got 1 weird question and 1 statement, right?
Mhm.
Statement is, Sanji's up and clean now. Sanji has fucking recovered, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Good.
Sanji is literally...
In fact, baby.
Sanji is literally cleaner here than Killer after Hawkins.
Yeah.
That's a bit of an upset, isn't it?
He looks a little bit dry. A bit like he's just woken up after a booze.
Yeah, he's just had some whiskey, some JD.
Yeah, there's no reason you can't have another bev and get back into it.
Last night, he was on the JDs and Cokes at the Pleasure Hall, and now the ladies are waking him up saying like they heard someone breaking downstairs, and he's like, great, I'll go check it out.
Yeah.
Still a little drunk, you know what I mean? He's just good to go.
I mean, honestly, like, if it wasn't for the ladies around him, he's not worried here. He'll just jump through the roof.
But here comes my question. So you see to the right of him the Onigashima skull from the side angle.
Yes.
See there's a crack underneath the horn.
Yes.
Now, is that crack what EB's doing underneath this? Or is that crack the result of Big Mum's lightning blast through Onigashima earlier on in the arc?
I was thinking it could be Eevee, could be Big Mum. Yeah, I remembered that. And then I was also thinking it could be King knocking Zoro at the wall.
That was on the opposite side.
Sure?
Yep.
Okay.
So Zoro was on the left side, Sanji was on the right side, right?
Right.
We don't have an idea of what side EB and Apu are at, right? But if that is EB, to me, I don't know if that works with the size comparisons. And that could just be Oda having bad scaling. But like, see how there's that little and it's a big hole considering Eevee's a big dude, right? He's like,
But it's only like the size of his fist at most.
he's like 60 to 80 meters tall, right?
His fist isn't that big, yeah.
Yeah, and not to mention like being 60 to 80 meters, but you see him here in the basement, and he's a little bit bigger than one level. But then you see the pleasure hall here, and the pleasure halls are like 3 levels tall.
Yeah, well, I mean, surely if it's the basement, then that wouldn't be it.
Yeah.
That's like the middle. That's like the middle part, because it literally says the left brain tower.
Yeah.
The tower would be
But
above.
but mind you, and this is something to notice. You know the river that they were all diving in when Big Mum was at the pleasure hall when Sanji saw her nude in that. That's that side there, and so part of those buildings are actually submerged.
Part of which buildings? The ones on the outside of the skull there.
Yes, but the water's been drained away since Kaido lifted the island.
Yeah, right. So that's like the bottom of those buildings. How it looks like it's kind of on stilts. Would have had water under it.
Yes, so that would be the basement would be just under that.
Yeah.
And
right.
if EB's like 60, 70 meters tall,
Super tall, right?
but that's
Doesn't-
still
I don't know.
it's still hard to gauge to me, because if that's the case, that means like Onigishima's only like roughly 200 meters tall,
Yeah, right.
which is like, and I know Oda's scale changes from time to time, right? But like from a front-on perspective, I swear it's way bigger. You know what I mean?
No, there's no way, because like the All Stars are like the same height as Kaido, right?
Yep.
They're only like at like half, right? Like half the size ish of the numbers.
No. They are like a sixth of the size.
Really, the numbers are that tall.
Yeah.
Need to like show them being bigger.
Here,
Like, even in this panel here with
it's perspective.
I know, yeah, because I know Dude Man's tall and it's a perspective thing, but still, like obviously he's not up to his knee. That's obviously a perspective thing, but still, like, I don't know. It would be like if they're standing pretty close to each other. I'd imagine if EB is that tall, he wouldn't even be able to fit in frame. How close he is to him.
Mm.
He's that big. Because like this dude would be like his foot, like up to like his ankle.
I think it's.
He would only be like half of Kaido, right? And then if Kaido's like a sixth of.
Kaido's 8 meters tall. Jack's a little bit taller than Kaido, and King and Queen are just around the same size as Kaido.
What about Music Man?
Music Man is like 2 meters tall. Or no, he's a bit taller actually, I think.
I figured he was like kind of tall.
I think he might be like 2 to 3 meters tall. He's like, I think he's a bit under Doflamingo, but he's
So he's
taller
like
than
less
Zoro.
than half of Kaido then.
Yeah,
So if he's like less than half of Kaido, and then Kaido was like a sixth of EB, then Music Man would like literally be like barely up to his ankle, like barely up to EB's ankle.
Mm.
And like this perspective to me wouldn't even make sense. To me, like EB would literally not even fit.
I mean,
his frame.
we could be right behind Apu here, and like 50, 60 meters away from freaking.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is it doesn't look like they're that far away from each other. It looks like they're standing fairly close to each other. So I guess the perspective is not. It's weird. I don't know. Makes EB look small.
I'm struggling to find it.
Because like that height difference would be like even if they're standing pretty far away from you, you would have to look up to such a degree that you wouldn't even really be able to see their face properly. Because they would just be like towering over you, even if they're like 50 meters away from you. Yeah, it'd be like looking up at like an actual like 15-story building.
Mm.
It's like, would you be able to see like a face painted on the top of a 15-story building if you're standing like 50 meters away from it?
Yeah.
It would just be, yeah.
Yeah, so they're around 220 foot tall.
Yeah, right. They are insane.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of sad how like useless they'd be.
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, this is what I was like, and this is why I've been laughing my ass off about it, right? Where I'm like, dude, dead ass, the, Oars, Luffy, 1v10 all the numbers is like one-shotting all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not even kidding, man. His punches are so fierce. And it like, took me a moment going back, because it's like, it took all the Straw Hats to beat one that was like, couldn't die, right? But if you took all the Straw Hats pre-time skip and put them up against the numbers, I feel like all of them doing a couple attacks on the numbers, they're probably taking them down one after the other. You know what I mean?
They'd have to fight them one at a time, but
Yeah.
it would definitely be easier.
Alright. Yeah. I'm struggling to find the proper loadout for Hutch's height. But like in the Viva card and that came out, you can see it, and he's bloody huge. But yeah, he's supposed to be 68 meters tall. You know what I mean? Which is around the same size as Oz and Oz Jr. Which, again, huge. Right? But yeah, it's hard to tell what that hole is. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's just sort of there, if that makes sense. Like, for all we know, that's Sanji on that side of the skull trying to break out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because of the whole fire thing. But
Yeah, it's hard to know.
what are your thoughts on the fire plot being resolved the way it was?
Fire thing, I think it was resolved really well. Like, so one thing that I was thinking is like, rather than having this entire Raizo like mini flashback thing, how he has to scroll.
Yep.
It genuinely could like they specifically had to say like, "Hey Nami, can't you put it?" Oh, like Zeus, why can't you put it out? And Zeus being like, "Oh, I just can't."
Dude.
Like, why couldn't they just make Zeus be able to?
Okay, so
And then have, and then have like the same thing. Have Jinbei control Zeus's water, and then
why isn't Zeus able to? And if he isn't able to, okay, Prometheus is over Zeus. Why did Raizo need to use water when we've seen him earlier in this arc use his scroll jutsu to soak up Kaido's borrow breath?
yeah,
Why not just wrap the castle in the scroll and suck up all the fire?
yeah, exactly. Like, why isn't it like a ninjutsu for that?
And
then it, like, so that's the thing is like with like Nami and Zeus and that is like the whole place is on fire, right? Which creates a lot of heat. Then there's a lot of heat, and then there's obviously a lot of cold in the air above because they're flying up in the air where the air is really cold. Why couldn't they have this really cool moment where Nami goes up onto the roof, like spins her baton around and using Zeus to like power herself up, and then gathers all the cold and hot air together, and then creates like this massive rainstorm, and then it floods the whole castle that way. Like they could have had this like really cool like super weather power and really good Nami moment, but instead they gave the moment to Raizo, who I just don't care about.
see, weirdly enough, I appreciate that Raizo's character development has come here in the sense that he's already been in this situation and it makes sense for him to have thought about it. It's just the aspect in which he went about achieving it, I feel like cheapens other people and even his own ability and creativity. And it now raises a potential new problem to me. Most of the people present, I mean, most of Kaido's forces have turned on Kaido, right?
Yeah.
Most of the people present have eaten a devil fruit of some variety. All the smiles, all the pleasurers, and now we're drowning them. So we're gonna have 500 people that can't swim.
Yeah.
How are we gonna deal with that? Or is the water just gonna, wash out instantly? Like
I genuinely think, I think it's gonna. And maybe even like next chapter, we'll see like a little, like the hole in the bottom of Onigashima, just like a cork is just going out.
But like, and fair enough. That's fair enough, right? But to me, it's like, I mean, like people like Killer, they've only just eaten devil fruits, right? They've probably never been in the situation where they've realized they can't swim now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like a lot of these people, like, and they're getting washed away, right? It's like
Yeah.
either we're about to have a heap of people just get literally deleted off Onigashima, getting washed away by this, and it's a lot of friendly fire, or it's just going to be super convenient, right? And in either way, how have the citizens not seen a giant ball of fire with a flaming skull in the sky and then a giant waterfall?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's got me like, Oda, I appreciate it, but I feel like we need to start addressing some of this stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say though, I love Jinbei's part in it. I love
Yeah.
the idea of like controlling the current. That panel of him doing the shoulder
throw?
throw looks awesome.
Dude, I
Like spile in the center, and his body's like turning, like
Yeah.
looks like it's twisting with it.
I
It's so cool.
I straight up was like, Jinbei comes in like mother He-Man, grabs it like a boulder, and is just like, ugh! Just
I
throws.
honestly like didn't care for Jinbei that much in the past, and I just really like Jinbei now. He's just
Dude,
a cool dude.
I
He's just a normal ass dude.
I like Jinbei actually doing water stuff. He's essentially a water
Yeah.
paramecia at this point.
Yeah, because I think I just never really liked the whole thing of like fishman karate. Like it just seemed a little bit cheap and like gimmicky to me. The way that Jinbei does it is just really cool.
I'm still a little upset.
I guess what happens is in my mind, it's because it takes me back to the guy who's like Arlong's under person, who was the fishman karate guy, and he literally did look like a karate bro. And he
Dude.
was like karate chop, and it was just kind of cringy.
Nah.
And it was fine for like a villain back then, but for like a really serious like person on the Straw Hat crew, I'm just like,
Dude,
I don't want you karate chopping people, man.
I love him. That is one of my favorite fights in One Piece.
Yeah,
Dude,
I mean, he's cool.
dude.
And he was actually like the serious one out of all of them. To be
Well,
honest.
he's Arlong's right-hand man.
Yeah, and he was the one who was like, I'm actually training and I'm gonna get really good at this.
Mm-hmm.
He was like genuinely.
He was a 40th degree black belt in Fishman Karate.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember. Do you know what his first attack is?
No, I don't know.
He literally punches Sanji off Arlong Park. He He right hooks him completely out of the gate, out into like the village area.
Yeah.
Dude was pretty interesting until Sanji like beat his ass, and then made him. Sanji makes him drown partially. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I love that, man. I feel dirty that we never got to see Jinbei versus Jack, Fishman on Fishman. Like, you know how like we literally didn't get to see anything from Jack, and it was a little bit of a you know, it's a bit underwhelming. I would have laughed if we got a clarification later that Jack is like a better fighter at Fishman Karate, but he needs like a big body of water nearby because he's not good at like just producing it. And so he's called Jack the Drought, and he's such a drag down because he's really strong, but only when he's right near water. And as a Devil Fruit user, if you knock him into the water, he's out.
They call him the Drought because he gets memed on because he's lost so many times just because he doesn't have water around.
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
They're like, oh, you had another drought, did you, Jack?
That would be funny. That would actually.
That would be good.
And it's like, it's happened enough where it's like, ooh, it's a bit of a comeback. You know what I mean?
It'd be funny if like they call Queen the Plague not because of the chemical weapons, but just because he's like so annoying that every time he shows up, they're like, "Oh, here's the plague."
Oh. No, not even that. It's because like, you know how Queen is always like tampering with himself.
Yeah.
Imagine if he's like in his Brachiosaurus form, just sneezes and just sprays germs everywhere. He's constantly getting everyone sick. Sorry for being late, guys. Yo, good to see you again, XOL. We've been streaming for an hour 40 now, but yo, good to see you come through, my dude. What are your thoughts on how heavy this water attack is? Because it breaks through every fucking level of the building, and it cleanly just deletes through.
I mean, water pressure is pretty insane. The thing is, though, is like, this is just like the speed at which it's coming out of the scroll, which is kind of funny because that would mean that Raizo basically had this in his back pocket the whole time. Like, if he just directed this at someone who wasn't a fishman and let it go, it would probably wipe them away.
Why didn't this be like when we snuck into Onigashima? Why wasn't all the samurai on the outskirts, like they could have gotten onto high ground. And you know when they all sneak attack Kaido and stab him? Ryza could have just been in the backdrop and just gone tsunami.
True.
And just gotten rid of all the gifters and all the pleasurers in like one massive attack.
Yeah, that is true.
But it is what it is. It's cool to see it now, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're pretty much told that next chapter Onigashima is going to fall unless Momo picks it up. Thoughts on that?
I don't know. This entire time, everyone's just been like, Momo, you have to create clouds. And he's like, no, I don't. I can't do that. And they're just kind of like being like, I'll do something else. I don't have to do that. And then now, Yamato's like, by the way, you still have to make those clouds. He's like, what? No way.
I'm just
like,
gonna be.
Dude, we've been telling you this the whole fucking time.
I'm just gonna be upfront with this.
You tried, you failed, you gave up, and you just started pulling on his clouds. It's like you've got to make them, dude.
I'm gonna be upfront with this. Yamato's talking out her ass. Kaido's weakening. The flame clouds, they've got to be getting weaker. You know, we're gonna need to grab them any moment, right? Outside of the island moving slower because Kaido's been fighting more serious, right? I haven't seen it drop in any form of elevation, right? Apart from Kaido huffing and harming a bit, I haven't seen any indication that he's like even lost any stamina to do this, right?
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Yamato constantly saying like he's at his limit, you would think that Kaido is still like a good 70% HP right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
True. Although it is pretty funny that she's like literally saying, like she said, he's at his limit, which to me kind of means that like there can't be that many more chapters of him fighting.
Except he's at his limit.
Has been the climax of the Wano arc for like 2 years.
Dude.
So
he's at his limit. He can't. He's got to be on the verge of like being too tired in that. He's like, dude, he's been lifting up an island while fighting, and if lifting up an island drains any form of stamina from this man, what percentage of the stamina is it? If he puts the island down right now where he is, and he's like, come on, Luffy, throw hands. I got more energy. What the fuck's about to happen?
I think it's just like if he gets knocked out or something, then they disappear.
But okay.
I don't think they take stamina. Surely not.
But he literally says, where is it? He won't be able to sustain his clouds for much longer.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, mind you, when has Yamato seen him do this to make that claim?
Yeah, true.
When has Kaido ever been pushed to his limit enough to be like, oh, I can't lift this anymore. Oh, I'm putting it down. And Yamato be like, that's the limit right there. Between here and here. Alright. We're roughly in that range now. Like, maybe I'm reading into it too much. Maybe the official will change that wording a bit. But it's like, dude, when? If ever. And if never, Yamato, you're talking out your ass. This man's not breaking a sweat. You know what I mean? She's just there hoping, just like, I can't do this. Surely he can't do this for much longer.
Like, is she like sensing his quote unquote voice, and then like can tell that like his voice is getting weaker or something like that? Like,
and if that's the case, right? Like, I know, you know Morge?
Yeah.
So he brought up an excellent point from an earlier chapter with Big Mom and that, where when Kaido wins, he normally lets out a battle cry. When he's at a proper 1v1 and wins. Right?
Yeah, right.
That's a Chekhov gun, because we've never seen that happen, right? So is Kaido going to get one more dub against Luffy, which in all honesty, I feel like would fatigue me at this point?
Yeah, definitely.
Or the flip side, that Chekhov's gun, is Kaido going to get knocked out? In which case, at that point in time, people can't sense who won because they're both god tier entities, right?
Right.
What if Luffy beats Kaido and lets out a victory cry? And the Beast Pirates think Kaido's won. And then Luffy comes down as the winner.
Yeah.
Because how many times has Kaido come down now and been like, I've defeated Straw Hat Luffy. I've won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're still yet to get that official, like, I have done it! I feel like there's enough, like, if that doesn't get paid off ever, I'm going to be like, dude, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for it. Also, right? We didn't do a discussion last week, did we?
Nope.
Okay. One thing I mentioned in the stream last week that I probably haven't mentioned to you. So this is chapter 1046, right? In 10 chapters, it's 1056, meaning it's chapter 1000 Gomu.
Oh.
My prediction is Kaido goes down then in 10 chapters. One volume from here. In that time span, we will get the flashback. You know how normally the flashback happens like right as the last punch is coming?
Yep.
And then we get like that ultimate like you've been KO'd here, you're sprawled out everywhere.
Yeah. Here's your life story. You're done.
Yeah. If Kaido is going down and it's not going to be Luffy gets beaten one more time, I'm saying it isn't exactly the like whether he goes down like whether this final punch is like 1050 and then there's like a 4-5 chapter flashback and then 1056 is either going to be the hit that takes him out or it's going to be like the chapter after the hit where you see him actually sprawled out and it's announced Luffy won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, that makes perfect sense at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, if we've got 5 to 10 chapters of fighting, what the fuck is gonna happen here from here on out? Like, Luffy throws a bolt of lightning, does some crazy damage to Kaido. Maybe Kaido showcases his awakening for 2 chapters, 3 chapters? Ending in...
I think it genuinely could just be like chat about awakenings. Like, it could be like everything, like this chapter essentially. A little bit of their fight. We learn a little bit more about maybe the fruit or something, or just like secrets that Kaido knows. You know, mid-fight dialogue kind of crap, and then go back to the rest of the people. You know, we can still in that amount of time they can cover stuff like what's going on with Zoro. Is he gonna wake up? Like,
Okay.
what's Sanji's next move? Things like that.
I just had
What's going on with the CP agencies?
I just had a really random thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really random thought. So you know how Luffy's grabbing the lightning here?
Mhm.
If that is an element that Kaido made, do you know what would actually be hilarious?
Mhm.
You know how advanced, like, you know how the typical advanced Rio is shown pretty time skip with, like, the palm strikes, doing, like, the bear Buddha palms with Kuma, with bloody Sentomaru, even with sort of how we see, Sengoku, like the palm strikes?
Yeah.
Dude, could you imagine if Kizaru tries to take a shot at Luffy at some point and he start palm striking back Kizaru's lasers? Because he can turn them to rubber and he just bounces them back.
That would be pretty cool.
That would actually...
Yo, actually though, with this rubber power, he could essentially just emulate Kuma's fruit.
Yeah.
He could literally just be like, I'm just going to absorb all the force, the exact same thing
Yeah.
that Kuma does. And then I'm going to
Reject it.
exert all that force. Yeah. He could genuinely just basically steal Kuma's
So-
ability.
At this point in time, can a swordsman even properly cut him?
Because he can just like bend around it.
Well, I mean, bend around it or, right? Like, I mean...
He cut him in half, he reattaches himself.
No, I wasn't even going to go that
Cool
far,
memes.
but it's...
He could genuinely just steal like his ability too.
No, but I was more looking, like, thinking about it in the sense of, like, obviously Advanced Rio would hurt him on a slash, right? Or Advanced Conquerors would hurt him on a slash. That, like, it is what it is, right? But, like, Luffy's sort of done, like, the opposite now, where it's like, if you just try to cut him, right? His arm just turns into sort of putty like it did with Kaido's. And wherever you stop swinging the sword is where his arm stops.
Yeah, right.
It's like trying to bash dough.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Like, could he...
I just kind of imagine it as like that meme of like the wet paper bag. If you try to cut a wet paper bag, you kind of just pull it with you.
Yeah.
Instead of actually slicing through it. Yeah, it's possible. You know what? I just thought, like,
if you just took a character, designed him the way that Gear 5 is designed, with all like those
Yep.
abilities, and then just made him like a really sadistic character, would work so well. Like if you look at this final panel,
It's like
with
Loki.
him holding the lightning bolt, he literally looks like super evil.
Dude, he looks like Loki in a way.
Yeah. Like I could totally imagine someone looking at this panel and being like the noble dragon warrior fighting the evil, sadistic
See, okay,
lightning man.
the problem
Lightning demon.
the problem is here, right?
Mhm.
I need to see how this plays out with the lightning, and we need to see when Luffy figures out what his fruit actually is, if that changes anything or not. Because it's like if he's grabbing elements or intangible things and can like freely manipulate it because he's able to turn it semi into rubber but keep it its element, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's to stop him, like, when, like, Kaido or Mihawk or Zoro does, like, a projectile slash at him grabbing the air slash, turning it to rubber and bouncing it back?
Yeah.
Like,
Easily.
elemental and projectile attack, like, based on how we're seeing this right now, Luffy may not be creative enough to believe in himself to do it yet.
Yeah.
But end the series, right? What's to stop that?
That's the thing, is that's why like people are saying it's ridiculous powers, because right now I literally can't imagine anyone beating Luffy, because it's like he could just do anything to beat
Dude,
you.
he's
There's no
outside
logic.
of
But
the
at the
chocolate
same
beam,
time,
he's just
he's
boo.
yeah. But that's the thing is like at the same time like he's still taking hits.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's fighting Kaido. He's doing all this ridiculous crap that he shouldn't be able to do to like beat up Kaido, but he's still like taking the hits. Like
So-
that hit still hurt him. So like event like you know what I mean. So it's really weird because like him going against any top tier, it's possible that he could just make them look like an idiot and just dumpster them.
Mhm.
But it's also possible that like you know let's say he's fighting Akainu. It's possible that he just like bends Akainu into rubber and rips him apart and just
Dude,
annihilates him.
it-
It's also possible that Akainu just grabs him and just melts him. Like
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because it's like, for all we know, you know, Akainu shoots a Magma Fist, right?
Mhm.
Luffy grabs a Magma Fist, turns it to rubber, and bounces it back like a ball, and it just sort of blobs into him. But then the difference is when Akainu's punching Luffy, right?
Yeah.
It's like Luffy might be able to turn the part of the magma that he's touching into rubber, like he does with Kaido.
Mhm.
But the rest of the magma is still magma, which means you're still in a furnace. That's why people like that are still threatening in that way. Like Luffy in this chapter, you know how he's punching through Kaido?
Yeah.
If you made that Akainu and it worked the exact same way as it does now, it's like, sweet, you've made it rubber so it stretches, so he can't block, but it's still magma, so it still burns.
yeah.
You know what I mean? This is gonna make or break top tier Logias going forward. That might be the only way Luffy's challenged. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it's like, if Luffy's new ability is indefensible, which it seems like it is, like last chapter we saw Luffy punch through Kaido's face, and it seemingly also went through his Kanabo.
Yeah.
Right? And then this chapter, it's like, it literally, it turns the person to rubber, so that even if they have the force to block it, their body stretches through, so you can't block it, and then he applies the Rio and Conquerors to do damage, right?
Mhm.
The only way to get around that now is to be an element that's free-forming, and has an elemental effect on top. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Even then, though, it's like Luffy ate a Borrow Breath, and all it did was make him a bit sooty.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like, the thing with his abilities is like I like the abilities being somewhat predictable, somewhat like of a hard power system. Like,
Yeah.
enjoy the soft power system, but like I don't want it to be as wacky as it is right now. I really want get some explanation as to like what exactly Luffy can and can't
The
do.
extent.
Yeah, because obviously it's fine for right now because he's just gotten the power. Even he doesn't know. He's just doing random shit that comes to his mind. If it stays like this for the rest of the series, I'm actually going to lose a little bit of interest in Luffy's fights. Because it's like, oh, what would Luffy versus Akainu look like? You just be like, I don't fucking know. Just random crap would happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the answer to every fight. It would be like, you know, could Luffy beat this person? I don't probably, but like, who knows? Because just random shit would happen.
In that situation,
There
if
wouldn't
it
be any
stays like this, it'd be like a Dragon Ball fight where It's like you're in a dimension and someone's just throwing ki blasts at you that are rebounding, and you're just blocking the ki blasts, and they're just bouncing around the room. It's like the lava's flying at Luffy, he's turning it to rubber and blocking it, but it's just like still like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's the thing is that, I mean, in the next chapter, as far as we know, in the next chapter, he can just go, oh, now I can make rubber arms out of the ground that are lava proof for no reason. And he's just, yeah.
All right, I've got to go to the toilet quickly.
Mhm.
I'll leave you commanding the stream. I'll be like 30 seconds. All right,
Lovely.
no worries.
You get the chat going. On my way. Uma, I assume. Right. So what do we think of the chapter? I have a question for the group. Um, we you guys watch? Sorry, if you guys read the chapters like, as soon as they come out before you watch Jade's reaction to them, or do you wait for Jade's reaction to come out to read along with him? Just curious as to like if you guys are reading it for the first time or not during that time. Because obviously you've all been really good in that, like you don't spoil anything that comes up in the chapter. You always wait for him to get to it before you start discussing it. But yeah, I'm always curious about that, if you wait or not. Um, yeah, overall, 8 out of 10 chapter, I think. I thought Usopp was really funny with the green sprinkler, and it was just completely useless. And he has genuinely just been useless. All he's done is he's just a standard dude with a slingshot that has like decent aim, and he's just been shooting little gumballs into people's mouths,
All right,
and that's like his big commitment towards this war.
I'm back.
Yo,
Yo,
I'm just roasting Usopp.
doesn't everyone roast Usopp? I know people that have genuinely dropped the series and are struggling to get back into it because they don't like Usopp.
Because I hate him so much.
Yeah. And the worst part is, like, I feel like as a One Piece fan, you either love Usopp from the beginning or you hate Usopp until you finally rewatch the series enough times to understand the character enough to be like, eh.
My problem with him was that I always thought he's a character who's like starting off crap and then he's going to have like
Yep.
a lot of character development. But he's stayed garbage for the entire series, over 1,000 chapters now. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm almost like, obviously it's like, oh, he'll get better at Elbaf, but I'm honestly kind of like overweighting, and I'm like, you know what? You should have been better, mate. You've been through so much, like a 2-year training arc in a forest on your own with just like this random weird ass mentor, and you got jacked from it, and you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you should have grown up by now, kid.
Okay.
Kind of stuff that he's lived through is like more than any person usually lives through. How does he not get like?
Do you do you know what's a weird thought?
Hmm?
Luffy and Sanji have already surpassed their mentors.
Yep.
Zoro hasn't.
Sure.
Zoro lagging right now.
Well, as we put Ivankov, I guess some people think that she's like first division.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Sanji just
Cool.
low diff queen though.
Yeah, true.
So it's
So
like,
they're like similar.
yeah.
But hey, as far as we know, mm, um, Zoro will wake up from this death nap and immediately be Mihawk level. Like, who knows? The amount of power ups that Luffy's got in this arc.
It's I tell you what, it's hard going forward because honestly, I think Zoro's gonna have no problem against Shiryu at this point. Zoro's been shown this arc dealing with invisible slashes heaps easily.
Yeah.
And Shiryu as a swordsman has been nothing more impressive than what Zoro was prior to this arc so far from what we've seen, and we've got no indication of Conqueror's Haki.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Unless they do like I wouldn't call it a retcon, but just for the sake of the conversation, unless they do like a retcon kind of deal where like turns out Magellan is actually like crazy strong, and therefore like
mean-
Shiryu already was like crazy strong. When you consider it like
I mean,
Magellan was like king of the friggin' prison, and the only people that beat him was, I mean, they all got one shot, but then eventually
Okay,
Shiryu like
throw Magellan into this arc.
That crew then immediately went, let's go take out a Yonko.
Throw Magellan into this arc, and just based off on his powers, isn't he beating everyone? No different to like Oars Luffy. Maybe he beats Queen. Maybe Queen doesn't.
He beats Queen.
He beats Queen. I mean, that means he beats everyone's second division commander level and under in this arc.
I don't know where I had him in my tier list. I was a lot more critical over Magellan
I had
in
him.
my tier list than I'm thinking about him right now. Right now, I'm kind of hyped him.
I had him at 34, and low key, I have Jinbei over him, and I feel like I'm confident with that because Jinbei could control the water aspect of the poison. But
Yeah, well, I guess here's the thing: is that when I usually think about Magellan, I think of him as like kind of like a shitty character with like a busted, ridiculous fruit. But the thing is, like, if he was actually like a solid, strong, smart warrior kind of character,
I mean,
and we just didn't see that side of it. But if he was like a really good warrior,
he
would
low
fucking
diffed
way higher.
Ivankov.
yeah. But again, that's the thing is how I saw him in that prison is just like he's just constantly shitting himself and then throwing a bunch of poison at people.
See,
You know what I mean?
do you know how hard it is? Because it's like,
If I saw a chapter that had Magellan in it and he's like hand-to-hand combating somebody with haki and then shooting poison at them and then hand-to-handing them and shit, I would be
Okay,
like, wow, Magellan is
but-
the first division at least.
but if I put this on paper, and you haven't seen Impel Down, right?
Yeah.
Put this on paper. Magellan's so strong, right, that he was in charge of hundreds of people worth 100 mil, right? Magellan is so strong that he had two warlords, and he had two warlords and the second division commander of the revolutionaries running for their lives away from him. He was so strong that he one-shot the future Pirate King and one-shot Yonko Blackbeard and his entire crew, all in one arc.
Mhm.
You would hear that and you'd be like, this dude must be busted.
Yeah, true.
Like, he's so hard to gauge because it's like his poison is still actually really effective even against top tiers now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, if people like Nekomamushi and Inuarashi are still getting defeated by poison,
Mhm.
Magellan's just like zoes out, done and dusted. And it's like we attribute his strength being like more Devil Fruit related, but like his body, he was still tanking Gear 2 attacks and fighting.
That's true.
Not to mention, we talk enough.
So it's really hard there, right? Because it's like the problem is that if anyone who isn't fodder gets hit by one punch from Luffy in Gear 2 and then just goes down right away, you would just be like, they're absolute garbage.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So it's like anyone who's worth any amount of threat has to take a few Gear 2
Yep.
punches. Otherwise, everyone would look at them and just be like, they're nothing.
Yep.
So to me, like, I guess I don't really hype up taking Gear 2 punches, even though it is, like, really big.
See,
to be able to take a Gear 2 punch.
the problem is with that, like, people use it to downplay Magellan, going, "Oh, Gear 2 put him on his knees," right? But Magellan had no idea Luffy was capable of Gear 2. Gets sucker punched in the gut, winded, drops down to his knees, right? And then gets up and tanks multiple Gear 2 punches, and is just like, "They don't phase me now. I know you're capable of it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, Luffy didn't fight him in the arc. Luffy fought just the poison around him after that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, Magellan coated himself in poison, and all Luffy could do to stall was to, like, try and splash the poison away. Like, Magellan is, to this day, so hard to power scale, and it's like...
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like,
They just make it. They just give more information about how strong Magellan is and make it seem like he's way stronger than we currently think. That would also go with Shiryu. I mean, that would also make Shiryu much stronger than we think, which would mean that now suddenly Shiryu is really, really, really strong, and now it's a good fight for Zoro.
But arguably,
That's the thing. Is like it could be like Shiryu could be a good fight for Zoro, or he could just be like way weak.
But arguably, all they are is like high vice admiral range. They're under the admirals, right?
Yeah.
Arguably, and I would argue fucking heavily on that. But like, what they've shown is dumpstering a lot of vice admirals, or at least the weaker vice admirals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And it's like it's hard because it's like with the vice admirals, you've got like the subordinate vice admirals, the base commander vice admirals, and then like Garp, Suru, and the admiral candidates. So it's like 3 tiers of vice admiral, and mind you, vice admiral itself, it's like the tier goes from people that got beat by Bartolomeo to, I mean, like people that are being considered to be an admiral that you would argue are at least able to tango with commanders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to gauge there because it's a pretty big range. Like
I mean,
I would still say like Virgo, if you throw Virgo against a flying 6, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's just like a slightly discounted version of Who's Who.
Yeah, he'd do pretty well.
Like he'd still
One
be
thing that
high
I
in
think
there.
is like, one thing that I think I really want at the end of this arc for like, I want Marco to basically sit Luffy down and be like, you need to take Blackbeard serious. He is a huge threat. I know you just beat Kaido, but he is a massive threat. And then like, it would be cool if he said like, Burgess went up against. I mean like, Jozu went up against Burgess and lost. And like got out muscled, which would be like a mad thing. And then he went like what's his name? Shiryu went up against Vista and got completely demolished in sword skills, and just basically just like went like we all just like individually got wrecked by our counterparts.
Dude, outright, in an alternate world, and I want Oda to draw this one day because I reckon it'd be fucking hilarious, right?
Mhm.
In an alternate world, do you know what the best devil fruit for Burgess would have been? Alternate timeline Dressrosa, where Sabo didn't show up. Burgess kills Luffy and gets the Gum Gum fruit. Gets the Sun God fruit. Because that dude is always laughing as well. You know, the wee.
Yeah,
He fits the aesthetic, right? And look at his Popeye arms with his big upper body. Could you imagine one of his arms just stretching out? Could you imagine him in like his own version of like a Gear 4 and that? And then eventually imagine him awakened. Flailing his arms about like a big gorilla.
Bouncing.
Yeah.
By the way, I love at the top of this arc how Luffy is literally just hands behind his head, just bouncing on his back on the ground.
Dude,
it is so good.
He's
like,
got
Kaido's like on the ground, just like ugh, and he's just like boing, boing.
Luffy's out here with that big dick energy, just like, what's up, bro? Luffy's just having the time of his life, and I love how Kaido's like, "Who the hell are you?" And like Luffy just says it like with the utmost confidence, same as always. Just like, dude, I'm the pirate king. I'm the dude that's gonna kick your ass. Who do you think I am? I'm out here playing games.
He's still bouncing, and then just gets face full of mace.
Yeah, dude. It's like Kaido cracked the shit, takes a sucker punch, and Luffy's like, anything you can do, I can do better. I learned that from Katakuri too. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Alright, we've got some comments here. And then I might really touch on this topic that we were talking about before, since we've got some new people in the chat. Okay. If Kaido dies, the perfect person to obtain the fruit is Nami or Usopp. I would say Usopp should have Kaido's fruit if anyone would get Kaido's fruit. Because he's already referred to as God Usopp. And imagine him with his sniping abilities with like the Borrow Breath and the Blast Breath and the Wind Breath. And it's like, it would also like work with Momo now, where like it swaps, so it's like Usopp's the cowardly dragon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And imagine Usopp sniping by creating flame clouds and hiding up in the air and shooting, or even using the flame clouds as a slingshot to shoot stuff from in the sky.
Right.
That would be cool. I don't see it ever happening because low-key, it's like, at this point in time, I think it's more likely that Kaido gets beaten, acknowledges Luffy as Joy Boy, and just like moves on, than Kaido dies.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think Kaido will die.
If you had said this to me like a year ago, I'd be like, Kaido has to die because the people of Wano need to move on. But like, Kaido acknowledging Luffy here, if Luffy actually kicks his ass, might just like put a new line of light in Kaido's life.
And the other thing is that like a Yonko, especially somebody like Kaido, is literally like a natural disaster. I feel like it's the kind of thing where like he would come to your island, wreck everything, and then everyone would just be like, "Damn, it sucks that happened to us," as if it was like a natural
Yeah.
disaster that happened. Like they wouldn't be like, "Damn, that Kaido who came in and ruined our place." It would be like, "Damn, this fucking dragon just came in and wasted us and then left." That's crazy. You know what I mean? You wouldn't assign as much.
Dude,
Something that's like that powerful that you can't even like really comprehend it. You wouldn't even bother like assigning it
Okay.
guilt. You would just assigning it
Yep.
blame. You would just be like, "Wow, that happened and it sucked."
we're never going to get to see this, but do you know what would be the best combo attack in all of One Piece that I would love? See how the Luffy, like, punches through Kaido and, like, rubberizes Kaido? He does a bazooka, one of those, and the fists touch on the other side of your body. And Usopp shoots sea stone cuffs and cuffs your back, so your devil fruit turns off and you stay stuck like that, and Luffy just pulls his arms out at you. And you're stuck deformed. Would that not actually be hilarious?
That'd be pretty funny, yeah.
Okay, because of the durability, elemental powers.
Good meme moment. Luffy grabs Usopp's nose and stretches it out further.
Ooh. See, none of the other gears have had like joke moments, whereas this could be like Luffy could just play around with this on the Sunny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, imagine Luffy trying to prank you in Gear 5.
I just imagine Luffy constantly bouncing. Just on the ship, constantly bouncing. And Nami is like, "Luffy, stop fucking bouncing."
No. Imagine the next time they go over a reverse mountain. You know how they were worried? It's like, we're going to crash. Oh no. Luffy just goes, Rubber Sunny. Boom, 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 boom. Alright.
I just imagine Luffy being super fucking annoying because it's like, imagine if you constantly had to hear that heartbeat sound the whole time in Drum of Liberation, and you just constantly hear boing, 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 and you're trying to concentrate on navigating, and it's just like...
Ooh, see, now we're gonna have to start doing like fantasy drafts for One Piece, because it's like, dude, like you know how we've like always like everyone's like, you know, make a team of 3 and who's the stronger,
Oh yeah,
right? Dude, could you imagine Kuma, Bello Betty, and Luffy on a squad? Bello Betty gears Luffy up to his... Oh, sorry, no. Screw Kuma out of there. Put Ivankov in there. Ivankov gives Luffy the hormones to make him as strong as he physically can. Bello Betty makes him emotionally as strong as he can. And then he goes into his awakening.
Yeah.
Dude would just be tapped out.
Solo.
Yeah, dude would be tapped out.
I thought what you were going for there was Luffy just tucks himself into a ball, then Kuma just launches him with his palm. And just shoots Luffy at people.
Oi! Ooh, we never thought of this, right? We talk about 1v1s, but like, the Blackbeard Pirates always roll as a crew, you know what I mean? You know, they're seeing you roll and we be ganging up on Whitebeard. Right, you know how they, like, from whenever we've seen them like all do it together?
Yeah.
Shiryu's got the invisibility fruit now. It can turn people and objects invisible. On mass. Could you imagine trying to fight an invisible Blackbeard?
Yeah, right.
Imagine
That'd be pretty crazy.
Imagine that sucker punch. Like, dead ass. Imagine...
It'd be like that character in The Boys that just explodes people's heads from nowhere.
Yeah.
It would just start exploding.
Oh.
Quake.
But we're getting at the... Like, it's hard because, like, from here on out, it's like, do we tone this down? Or does Oda start making more ridiculous stuff happen? And that's what hypes up the back half of the story here. Like, the climax is, like, all those crazy fan theories start just, like, getting ticked off. Of, like, crazy abilities and combos and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It
Alright.
should be funny if, like, him saying, "I can finally do all the things that I wanted to do." It's Oda, like, hinting that he's basically just going to fulfill everyone's, like, fan theories of Luffy's power-ups all at once.
Like I said, I'm just waiting for the moment where he redirects, like, Kizaru's lasers or something. Like, could you imagine that, like, it's out of, like, Mob Psycho 100, like, the energy bolts are coming and he's just going... Like
The
that.
thing is that like he's still not even like really saying much about what he's doing fighting wise.
He's
He's just
figuring
kind
it
of
out.
testing shit out.
Yeah, dude.
That's the thing. Before, when he was like, I can finally do all the stuff you wanted to do. These are probably like some little things that he always wanted to do. But I think like he's got like general like big attacks and like modes and stuff.
Well,
That he already knows that
He
wants to go
hasn't-
into. And right now, he's just kind of playing around.
he hasn't done any of like he even starts this off by going, shit, what should I call that? Gum what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so it's like he's just going with the flow now and just like shit, man. I got so many possibilities. Like the next time we see him in Gear 5, think about how refined it's gonna be because he's gonna have been thinking, he's like, what can I do? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be crazy. All right, we've got a comment here. What if the same goes for awakening a black blade? You have to be one with the sword, like the body, mind, and can keep up. That's why Zora's unconscious right now. And look at Frankie's helmet with the crescent moon. I get ya. It has the moon on it, meaning Zoro might be someone else, and Oda didn't randomly give that helmet to Frankie. Yeah, I think I get this theory you're coming from there. That's the whole Bink Sake thing, isn't it? You know, like you are the moon unaware of the dawn sort of story.
What's going on with Frankie's head? I didn't catch that.
Frankie's wearing like a crescent moon piece of armor at the moment.
Okay, right.
And it's like, you know,
yeah,
Zoro,
right.
Frost Moon Village, Shimatsuki being
Yeah.
moon, and then you've got like Bink Sake and like Toki's premonition. It's like you are the dawn, you are the moon unaware of the dawn.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, you know how people have been speculating and sort of reaching at the moment as to like, is there anyone else from Prophecy and stuff like that? I would say if anyone's going to be the moon, it would be Blackbeard. Especially with like him as a child being represented as like being out in the moonlight and stuff like that. And his whole ability is darkness, and darkness is more associated with the moon, even though the moon gives off light. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though.
It'd be cool as well if like swordsmanship kind of mirrored a lot of the devil fruit kind of power-ups, because like realistically, if you have a devil fruit and you use that a lot and you're also a swordsman, you won't tend to be like a hardcore dedicated swordsman to the point where you'll like awaken a black blade, right? All like the top swordsmen are like, a sword is all I need in life. I live the sword. So yeah, it would be cool in that sense, where it's like you can awaken your black blade is like the same level of power up that awakening your fruit gives you. And so being like a proper swordsman is equivalent to essentially having a fruit, and then the degree of what blade you have is equivalent to the degree of what, like, how good your fruit is. You know what I mean? Use a shit blade as like being really good with a shit fruit.
Yeah, I hate
Really
to
good
say
with a
this.
good blade.
I hate to say this out loud because I'm not trying to downplay the character because I love them, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point in time, Zoro's Dragon Blaze, where he cut the horn at Onigashima,
Yeah.
that's still not as impressive as Mihawk backswinging an iceberg across the length of an island in half.
And yeah, but that's like insane, that feat.
Yeah, no, but like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like even now in scale, it's like, dude, Mihawk is still like, ta-da!
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen Big Mom's Elbaf Spear, and we've seen Kaido doing like wind slashes and like projectile slashes and that. Still, outside of Big Mom and Kaido tag team attack, Mihawk still is cleanly above in swordsmanship so far. And it's like, even if Shanks is the number 2 swordsman, right? And say Shanks is equal to Mihawk, just for argument's sake, right? So it's like, Mihawk had the title before Shanks. Shanks can't beat Mihawk, but Mihawk can't beat Shanks. And they're just a dead even tie, right? It's like, that's still pretty fucking impressive as a swordsman for swordsman feats and that. Like, could you imagine if every attack is like a Elbaf spear?
Yeah. It's crazy, yeah.
That's some crazy shit. And like, I
And
don't.
at the same time, like when we saw like Whitebeard and Roger clash, it wasn't even like I'm putting everything that I can into this blast. It was just like an initial clash,
Yeah, dude.
and they wiped a forest away.
Yeah, All that was is advanced conquerors and armaments colliding almost.
Yeah. So like realistically, like if Shanks is even like a less than version of Roger,
Yeah.
seemingly he is, because seemingly he has no fruit and all that stuff, then he could do at least like with his all out attack that as well.
Yeah. Oh,
Like just the clash annihilates
scale?
a freaking forest.
Scale is going to be crazy going forward. Okay, I know I've asked you this 1,000 times, right? But with how this fight's going, do you feel like the Admirals need to have Conquerors going forward?
I don't know. Because like I don't know to what extent they could just get by with having ridiculous fruit. Because like realistically, Kiinu's fruit is it just melts through you, right? It's
Yep.
not like harking up will stop that from happening. But like I don't
Well,
think he needs to have
We've seen Jinbei
Conqueror's
block it
armament.
for a small period of time with Haki. But it still burns slightly.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, they could just not do that, I guess. I don't know. Because the thing is like, if he has Conquerors, he just clashes with Luffy, it's just a clash. Whereas if he just clashes with his fruit, it's burning. So in my mind, like, his fruit's carrying that encounter no matter what.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
But if you took
I don't know,
Luffy
and
out of that encounter and put that same encounter of, like, the Admirals going up against Yonko or First Division commanders in that, right? Does
I
their
mean, I
fruit
still think,
always
like,
carry?
Akuna could, like, melt through... I think he could melt through pretty much anyone's stuff.
Put it in the flip perspective, because like I know a lot of people may not agree with this, but like Aokiji probably has a harder matchup against more people, fruit wise. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because his fruit's more utility based. Like his ice does do freezing, but it's like if you can do full bodied Rio, can he freeze you? You know what I mean? If you can use Rio, you could just like diffuse that arguably, so we can't just like auto freeze.
Yeah, right.
So it's like it's not a one-shot KO. So it's like in more situations, you can probably get around Aokiji's fruit than you can Akainu's fruit. And Kizaru's is hard because Kizaru's is, from what we've seen so far, not blockable. But it's so much less damage overall. Like, when Kizaru hits you with a laser, the laser just goes through you. It doesn't do that explosive damage on you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, so it's hard to gauge because it's like, I don't know. Because look at Fujitora, man. Fujitora and his gravity, I can understand if the gravity carries. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the pre-time skip admirals. It's like their fruits carry hard, yeah. But if they don't have these abilities, it's like it's hard because we don't have a good idea of what Conqueror's Haki even does. Advanced Conqueror's Haki in a fight, do we?
No.
And it's like if you go back and you look at like Advanced Conqueror's Haki, you could argue it does the same thing as Advanced Rio, but it's separate to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like a different form of doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, dude, look how many hits Luffy's taking with Advanced Conqueror's Haki throughout this fight. Even Kaido. Or Advanced Conqueror's Haki and Rio attacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you throw an Admiral in there, right? Even if an Admiral has their element, if Luffy can counter the element in any way, shape, or form, unless they've got this, they've got no way of touching him.
True.
So it's like they kind of need to have it. Otherwise, it's like, oof. Ouch.
Yeah, that is true.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting moving forward. Because, like, there's still people like Boa and stuff like that as well. Like, Conqueror's Haki users now are put into an awkward box where anyone we see with it fight from here on out could potentially get a massive buff. But anyone that we've seen fight with it before this, it's just like, dude, you're kind of dead in the water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's hard now because like now it's like Luffy has like a God mode fruit and all those Hakis, so it's like no one can really push it. And that's the other thing that I was thinking is like Luffy's kind of just like testing out his fruit, like we were saying against Kaido right now. It's like, well, yeah, because realistically, it's not like you can test it out against anyone else.
Yeah.
You can't test it out against his crew because he'll like seriously
Hurt them. Yep.
So, right, that's the problem with being like that level. That there's way less ways to improve.
Which, I mean, here on out, we might start to see Luffy go the route of Kaido and Mihawk suffering from success.
Yeah.
Like, Luffy loves to fight.
Yeah.
Here on out, like, challenges are going to become less and less. Like, could you imagine old man Luffy being like, no one can surpass me?
I think Luffy's lucky in that he doesn't care about strength. He just wants to be like free or whatever. So like if he's stronger than everyone and he's got no one else to fight, it's like fine, that's okay.
Gedex just brought up a good point. Shanks and his crew having abnormal haki, like they seem to be like haki carried, right?
Yeah.
It almost would be good to see the Straw Hats clash against the Red Hair Pirates now to just get a bit of a haki buff, and so that we could actually like get a comparison to haki. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's hard because it's like we haven't been we haven't had it explained what Advanced Conqueror's Haki does, and there is some indication to say it's like Advanced Rio, but there's no definitive on it. Because for all we know, this could do less damage than Advanced Rio, but be just far less taxing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it is wild that Luffy can like punch through you. Like you can't block Luffy.
It's weird. I don't know, like
The problem is that he started doing it and we have no description of what the benefit is.
Well,
Things like, yeah, the idea is that I guess like doesn't matter how hard you are,
yeah,
because it just
But-
makes you bend anyway.
but like imagine Kaido's
Like,
Mihawk.
he's bending you. Doesn't that inherently do less damage?
Yes.
Because isn't that literally what Kaido's doing against him?
Yes.
He's bending himself.
Yes. Except because of Advanced Conquerors and Rio, he can still do that internal organ damage. You just can't block it.
Mhm.
Right? So it's like if you swap Kaido out with Mihawk here, right?
Mhm.
Say Mihawk puts his sword up to block. Luffy turns the sword into rubber and Mihawk into rubber and punches through the block and then does Advanced Conqueror's Rio damage. Doesn't break the sword, but it's like it bypasses your defending capabilities.
True. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it sacrifices maybe the damage of an impact and replaces it with I've got better haki than you, so shut up. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, like, there does seem to be big drawbacks with Gear 5. Like, when Luffy's last chapter started to, like, zone out, it does look like it is taxing on him. It's just not while he's in the mood.
well, yeah. Actually, like kind of my take on it is that like
What it essentially seems like to me is that it doesn't matter how much damage he takes when he's in Gear 5, it doesn't affect him unless he goes out of Gear 5. There's kind of like his health bar, because like when he deflated and he went out of Gear 5, he was like on the edge of death, and then he went back into Gear 5, but now he's like perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
But then he was basically saying like, Kaido's basically saying like, if you keep fighting for too much longer, you will just die. So to me, it seems like Luffy can fight in Gear 5 literally until he just drops dead.
Yeah.
He can fight at full force, full effort, not getting any weaker or slowing down until he just straight up dies, which is pretty crazy of like a buff to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really, really strong.
Okay, we got some chat here. I don't like that Gear 5 has drawbacks since it's a zone. It's supposed to be as powerful as Kaido, Yamato, Marco, and other mythical zone users. Maybe Gear 5 is just full zone form, which can be used anytime. Zone's Awakening should be faster recovery and all skill buff. A regular zone would be that. A mythical zone... Luffy's the only mythical zone that we've seen awakened, and from what Kaido states earlier on in the chapter, where is call this an awakening. Your mind and body are finally able to harness the potential of your ability. Like, you can understand the limitations of your ability, so you can use your ability more free-forming. For Luffy, whose ability is imagination, that's way more of a buff than Kaido, who, like we were saying before, his awakening might be that he can do his wind blast and borrow breath and stuff like that. Like, he can create his elements, not forming it from his mouth like we've seen him do it before. Like, he did a wind slash this chapter instead of breathing it out. And that might be Kaido's awakening subtly being shown here. You know what I mean?
It's also possible that that's him calling down the thunder from the
Sky. As opposed to him shooting the lightning
out of his mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, which I feel like is pretty reasonable there. Like, if, like you were saying the other week, and that if Kaido's awakening is he does recover faster, he gets a little bit stronger, and he gets better control on his elements, that makes sense. And like, you could look at that at Marco. Like, what would Marco's be? Well, okay, Marco's already able to recover, but say he's just got a bit more stamina in that, right? His awakening could either be healing someone else better or recovering himself from a fully fatal injury.
And also, like, we saw that Marco could, like, shoot his fire at people and stuff. Could just be that he basically
Better
can,
control
like,
of
do,
his
like,
fire.
Ace-esque things where he can just create, like, tons of it.
Yeah.
Fire around like Ace can.
Yeah. Like,
the other thing with, like, with Luffy is what the Gorosei said was awakening makes his rubber body exponentially stronger and gives him way more freedom. And so the thing is, like, his fruit as a whole makes his body stronger and gives him freedom. That's what the fruit does.
See,
that's like the powers of his fruit. And then when he awakens it, it just gets better.
And the awakening...
So awakening is just like more of what you already have.
And the awakening takes him from getting one shot from an advanced Conqueror's Haki attack to they do minimal damage outside of feeling a bit of pain. Like, before this, every time Luffy actually took an advanced Conqueror's Haki hit from Kaido, it took him out. And he had to recover and come back. Like, the Ragnarok knocked him out until he learnt advanced Conqueror's Haki armament. Then Kaido knocked him off the roof. And then, I mean, even like, in this fight and that, like, Kaido got a few hits in while doing their Gatling on each other. But it's like Luffy and Kaido were both, like, attacking with Advanced Conquerors and Rio. And, like, trying to defend at the same time while offending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, now, Luffy literally gets hit. Like, last chapter, Luffy got clean clocked in the back of the head. Then got clean clocked again in the back of the head. And then at the beginning of this chapter, he cops 5 or 6 hits straight point blank with Advanced Conqueror's Haki. And it's just... It's enough for him to be like, ah, ooh, ah. But, I mean, we don't even know if it's doing damage or if that's just him reacting.
And, like, almost in the same movement, he then hit back.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, previously, it would, like, launch him into a wall, and then he would take half a second to get up, and by the time he got up, Kaido would be back on him again. You have to dodge Kaido again.
So it's like, like, when they say it exponentially gets you stronger, they are not kidding. Like, the difference between being, like, almost temporarily one shot and eating multiple of the same attack and just being like, that's significant. Like, it is pretty crazy. It would be unfair since Luffy's fruit is supposed to be the freest. How would you free if there are drawbacks in achieving freedom? Well, the drawbacks of freedom is for you to have freedom, someone else has to have their freedom taken away.
Or for you to have freedom, you have to pay the price for that freedom.
So Luffy being able to fight as freely as he wants might mean that once he comes out of his awakening, right? He doesn't take the damage, but he feels the effects of everything that happened.
Yeah.
Similar to, like, the nothing happened moment pre-time skip.
Yeah.
Which, mind you, based on their healing factor and stuff going on at the moment, I think we may get a new nothing happened moment this arc with Sanji being the person to take it instead of Zoro. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I think it was kind of poetic that pre-time skip they both tried to do it, and Zoro was just like, you know, I've got it. You know what I mean? Whereas post-time skip, like Zoro is the dunnest he's ever been done in the entire series, and that I mean he's so far done
Yeah,
that
that's big true.
like Kizaru's standing over him, about to stomp his head into oblivion, and Zoro's more okay there than he is here.
Because the second dunnest he's ever been done is after Kuma, and he was still standing after Kuma.
Mm-hmm. Like, Zoro's seeing Brooks, Brooks' bloody frat brother, the Grim Reaper. You know what I mean? Like, Zoro is on death's door here. The question is Sanji going to take Luffy's pain or Zoro's pain? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, if there is a second nothing happened moment, is it going to be that Luffy needs it after his fight with Kaido because all the effects of the awakening and that start to drain him? Or is it going to be like Luffy's going to be fine because Luffy's in awakened zone, Luffy always bounces back, but Zoro is like he's dying. Heartbeat's stopping soon, boys. Like, Frankie's like, if I don't get him to Chopper soon, he's dead. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's like, maybe Chopper just is like, yeah, miracle, we're all happy. But it's like, Zoro had like 20 or 30 broken bones before being forced to fight King.
Mhm.
Like, Zoro literally was being told, it's like, how are you even standing? You should be dead from the Kaido Big Mom attack. Kept fighting, and then was like, yeah, we're going to give you the illusion of being back at full health, but you're still fucked. And then made him 1v1 the arguably one of the strongest people in the world.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, the dude... I know Zoro's a tank. I don't know if he's going to be taking all this on his own. Even if Sanji only takes some of the pain. You know what I mean? The fact that Sanji's got a healing factor in that now, it makes more sense for him to recover easier. In some capacity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Law will save Zoro. Ageless surgery to Zoro, meaning he will be the strongest. Honestly, I feel like if anything is going to happen with Law and the Ageless surgery, it's going to come into Merujoa with Im. Because Im's probably received the Ageless surgery, and it'll probably be set up as a red herring there to have Law make Luffy immortal. But I could see a payoff where maybe if Im is immortal, Law can perform the surgery and undo it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So it might be like, I mean, Law may die in the process, or he might not because he's taking it away from someone. But I feel like that, the way Doflamingo brought that up and talked about that, it was in regards to being like the king of the world. And since we've got the Void Sentry and Im all set up side by side, I'm like, it really does sort of seem like it's just going to be a all connected. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Maybe Law's path
Yeah.
is to undo the angel surgery, right? Yeah. Like I'm saying, it's like maybe we don't have to worry about Law dying. Maybe it's more like we needed it set up there, not so that we thought it's going to happen, but so it can be undone.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. By the way, somebody posted the chapter schedule in the comments, and it's like, this week's a break, right?
Yep.
1 chapter, break. 2 chapters, break.
Oh, we're gonna have some off-cuff streams coming up soon, then, aren't we?
Yeah, that hurts, man.
Every time we hear a break, it's painful. But mind you, so what? It was chapter break, 2 chapters break.
No. So we're now on a break. So it was this chapter, and then a break. 1 chapter, break. 2 chapters, break. So next week, no chapter. One after that, we get 1, and then another break. And then we get 2, and then another break.
Okay, so hear me out. Next chapter, Kaido's awakening's talked about. After Luffy does this crazy lightning stuff. break on Kaido's awakening. Come back for 2 weeks. Kaido and Luffy back and forth for using their awakenings at their max. A break.
Mhm.
Say Oda comes back for 3 chapters there, right?
Mhm.
We have the conclusion of the Luffy Kaido fight in those 2, ending on the first chapter of the flashback with a break.
Mhm.
I could see that working out like that. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
Or, I mean, do you think we are getting a flashback from Kaido at this point? Or do you feel like we've gotten enough from him?
I don't know.
Because I really struggle here. Because we are in the climax of One Piece, right?
Here's the thing, we're getting to the end of it now, where like even though every chapter has been like fairly good, like fairly content heavy, and there's been a lot going on, I look back and I'm like, man, we've been here for like 2 years. I mean, like, when
3.
are we moving away from this scene? Well, Onigashima specifically fighting.
Yeah.
Have we been fighting Kaido for 2 years?
Yes.
Jesus.
Kaido,
So,
beginning of last year was chapter 1000.
yeah, right.
That was the first chapter of last year.
That was Red Rock, wasn't it?
Yep.
Which was the start of the rooftop fight.
And before that, we still had the Scabbards fighting him
Yeah.
for half a
true.
year.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, so it's getting to the point for me where I'm like, we have to move on from this. Like, we have to move on from like Luffy's fighting Kaido. You know,
See,
5 weeks later, Luffy's fighting Kaido.
the
10
problem-
weeks later, Luffy's fighting Kaido.
The problem is there, right? That we can still stop, have an intermission. But the problem is, I feel more and more like we can't have an intermission now. Like we gotta end this. You know what I mean? And it's not that I want it to end. It's just like, if it doesn't end, I'm gonna be shocked. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, whenever we take a break, though, you got to think, like, the immediate this ends, we're getting what's happening with the Revs and the world government based on what happened to Sabo. We're getting the aftermath of if the warlords have been taken down or not. Like, there is, like, we got what's happened to Vivi or Cobra. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We got whatever the fuck Blackbeard's doing or going after to take out. Like, those are some fucking huge revelations.
Yeah.
See, it's hard as well, because the reason I still lean towards the 5-act structure isn't because, like, Kaido here fighting is, like, not enough. If there is another act and it's just like a conflict between Luffy and Kaido, I'm gonna kind of be like, dude, we've already seen more than enough. You could have started that act earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if the act is just something like the flashback and then the final hit, it's going to be kind of like, again, like, you could have just done that earlier. You know what I'm saying? But I still feel like an Act 5 is coming with the amount of information we get. Like, having, what? 1, 2, 3 of Kaido's poneglyphs and 3 of Big Mom's poneglyphs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get you.
So it's like, we're de facto going to have 6 poneglyphs, Odin's journal. Like, there's still a lot to be discussed while in Wano. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's like, I don't know. It's hard to know where the line's going to be drawn, if that makes sense. Because it's like, do we beat Kaido, flash around to the world, party, quickly get through this information, and it doesn't count as like an act or anything, and we just leave? Like, it's like the end credits of the arc? Or is Oda gonna go like, okay, well, in the next chapter or two, Onigashima gonna fall or not fall, right? The citizens of Wano have to be aware of Kaido. We've got the whole, like, we've got the whole Chekhov's gun of Kaido's victory scream, right?
Yep.
A potential extended fight of Luffy versus Kaido, and I mean, we haven't had anything come about Mount Fuji or Marco talking about what the other name of Onigashima is and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's like, I mean, even the Beast Pirates alone, we haven't talked about, like, yeah,
The thing is that like if they cut away from what they're currently doing to talk about all of this stuff, and then it goes back to what they're currently doing,
yeah,
it'll feel in my mind that we've been there the whole time. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it'll feel. Let's say they cut away, they explain all this awesome stuff, and it's really cool, and then they cut back to it, and it's like I'll be like, oh my god, Luffy's been fighting Kaido for 4 years.
yeah. Like,
So that's what I mean about. I feel like the story needs to move past it, where Luffy versus Kaido is a thing that happened.
yes.
Where like Luffy versus Katakuri is the thing that happened.
See,
Yeah.
I fully understand, but it's like, it's hard. Like, even look at Whole Cake Island, right? Once the cake was destroyed and we started leaving, we thought that was it, and then all of a sudden the Katakuri fight happened, and it was like, oh, there's actually a whole conflict.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? And then after Katakuri went down, there was still escaping Whole Cake, like escaping the territory. You know what I
And
mean?
by the way, that's actually it's actually a good thing to analyze, because a lot of people say that like the Katakuri fight was like one of the best fights, right? And it was like really hype and everybody really loved it. But a lot of people don't like Whole Cake Island, and I think the big thing is that like
It's
you didn't
fatiguing.
go into Whole Cake Island thinking, oh, this is the takedown Katakuri arc. We're gonna beat a first of like. I feel like if you went into it thinking that, you would find it a lot more interesting. But
Mhm.
because you went into it just being like, oh, we're gonna like screw around, try to rescue Sanji, and then leave.
We went
You're
into
not
it.
expecting anything.
We went into
What
it
was it that feels
expecting
in
not to
the
beat Big Mom, and expecting just to like understand how strong a Yonko is.
Then run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like I feel like a lot of people watched it, including myself, and it wasn't very like hype driving. You weren't like building up to this big climax at the end. It was just kind of like, let's just get Sanji out, and then when Sanji's like, I can't go, it's like, oh god damn it, just come with us, like,
Mm-hmm.
just let us leave. Yeah, but then as soon as the Katakuri fight happened, it was like everyone's like, wow, this fight is awesome. But it's funny because it's like that's why I feel like a lot of people they read they we read it the first time and we were kind of like Whole Cake Island's kind of meh, but then every time people reread it
They're like,
they
it's a
go on
phenomenal
about how
arc.
great it is, like
Mhm.
wow, it's actually a really great arc. It's like sure, but that's
People,
because you knew that the whole arc was building up to something great, whereas the
people,
first read through you don't know that.
people get fatigued week to week, and the problem is like Wano's the best One Piece has been probably.
Mm-hmm.
Like, start to finish in Wano, I think there's been more One Piece has broken the internet moments than ever in the story. Like, the arc opens with the Luffy being 1.5 bill. It opens with Weevil and Marco potentially coming to the arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
It opens with Zoro and that phenomenal, like, cutting down the building scene with the little seppuku knife. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We jump straight into multiple Supernova fights. And then jump straight into Luffy vs. Kaido. Right?
Yeah.
Then immediately after that, we get the first Yonko bounty in the entire story with Blackbeard. And then we find out the Revs and the Admirals have had a fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we get the whole like resolution with the Reverie sort of thing. Then we get Luffy having learnt 2 types of advanced Haki, right? More Supernova on Supernova fights, which are some of the like some of the people that have been the people have been the most interested to see fight or do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention, we've gotten to see 6, like, heaps of cool stuff with Samurai, right? We got heaps of emotional stuff with the whole Smile stuff and how messed up the country is. We got Killer versus Zoro, without even knowing we got Killer vs. Zoro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then stopping that to get all 4 Yonko bounties plus Whitebeard and Roger's bounty, right?
Mhm.
Then finding out the warlords have officially been abolished and they're being hunted down to be killed, right? Then Im and all that sort of shit, right? And then the Odin flashback, arguably the best flashback in all of One Piece, where we actually get to see Gold Roger's journey. Ending with the Laugh Tale reveal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then going into this and having us actually try to fight, like, and take out a Yonko crew one-on-one. And arguably we've had some of the best fights in Onigashima. And some of the coolest fights and some of the coolest moments. And even people that haven't been super badass have had great moments. Like, dude, I remember when Apu was fighting Luffy and Zoro. Do you remember how, like, that was? Oh, not to mention Drake being a Marine. You know what I mean? Kobe potentially going after Boa Hancock.
Mhm.
Got the whole thing with, like, Kaido being a dragon, Big Mom and Kaido teaming up, the Rock's history. Like, Wano has definitively just, like, been consistently breaking the internet, has it not?
True, it has.
Like, I love One Piece, and I liked Whole Cake Island by far, right? Category, like, I love that fight. But it's like, the best part of Whole Cake Island came about, like, in the Katakuri fight and seeing what Big Mom can do. Other than that, a lot of people kind of like, yeah, they're strong, but, you know, I don't really, like, nothing super impressive. The biggest plot twist was Pudding, and then that flip-flopped, like, 20 times. To the point that people got sick of it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, Wano has just straight up, even from a week-to-week standpoint, just been consistently like, what? Like, how many times in the last year to 2 years have you had a chapter that's redefined 20 years of story? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
Like, when Who's Who was talking about the Gum Gum fruit the first time, everyone's like, what does that mean with Shanks? Was this all planned? You know what I mean? Luffy being Sun God Nika. It's just... I mean, we even got Jinbei officially joined the crew. We got the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates showing up. You know what I mean? Like, the only downside is we haven't had the bounties of a lot of these characters in main story. You know what I mean? We haven't had, like, Kid and Killer and, like, Hawkins and Drake's bounty and stuff. Like, whenever we've had the 1v1s, you know how it's been, like, you know, blah, blah, blah versus blah, 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 winner, blah, blah, blah. The only thing that we haven't had is, like, included with that is, like, this person, their title card, and their bounty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Like, other than that, though, this has just been peak One Piece. Has it not?
Yeah, it has.
And like, I know there's a lot of people out here that actually don't like Wano. And I don't understand it. You know what I mean? It's like, I understand the criticisms about certain things that are just like, oh, why didn't they do this or why didn't they do that, right? But it's like, One Piece in Wano has had more and like some of the best parts weren't even about Wano, but like One Piece Wano has been the best One Piece has been since pre-time skip.
True.
I mean, shit, we've got Awakenings. We've had 3 Awakenings this arc. You know what I mean? We've had Advanced Conqueror's Haki, Advanced Armament, and Future Sight this arc.
Yeah, we have had like an insane amount of arc. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't want it to come across like I'm not liking the arc. I think it's friggin' awesome. And that's things like every individual chapter has been really entertaining, and every single week I've been like, oh, One Piece Day, like waiting for it. It's just that like part of me is like, It's like I tell my partner like, oh yeah, Luffy's now done this against the dragon guy. Luffy's now done this against the dragon. Like I've been talking about the dragon guy for a very long
Dude,
time.
I fully get it. Like, I understand. It's like, dude, I'm ready to move on. But it's like, I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm ready to move on, but I only want us to move on if like the story here is done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm at a horrible limbo where I'm like, I'm looking at it. I'm like, dude, I feel like the story needs to wrap up, but I'm not sure if the story's wrapping up or not. If that makes sense.
I mean, even just if the fight ends, like that's the thing is like, I wouldn't be mad if like Blackbeard showed up or something else happened. You know what I mean? Like after this, it's more just that the fight. And like again, like I fully understand it because there's been tons of stuff that's gone on during the fight. Like we've had multiple other fights going on. We've had the whole storyline of like the place being on fire and everything. But that's the thing is that when it's still in your mind. Luffy is fighting Kaido, and then that is in your head for years.
Which, mind you,
Luffy's still fighting Kaido.
go to the panels with Zoe, right? I got to bring this up.
Yeah.
It could just be bad paneling. It could just be me not understanding. It looks like Zoe's actually overtaken those government ships. Like Zoe's now in front.
Yeah, right.
Because if you look at like the wave line that those ships are on, it's behind Zoe's back left leg. Or even if the ships are slightly in front of that wave, Zoe's front left leg and trunk look like it's in front of them.
Is this right at the top?
No. Yeah. It's actually it's right near the beginning of the chapter. It's on the first page.
Yeah.
Bottom of the first page.
You think they're behind Zoe?
Well, they're either behind Zoe or they're in between his two legs at this point. From that paneling there.
I mean, it looks to me like Zoe's looking at them, isn't he?
Oh, to me it looks like Zoe's looking up at Wano. Because he can sense Luffy.
Well, yeah. I mean, like body is facing towards them.
To me, it feels like Zoe's walked past them. You know, like the Steve Rogers on your right.
Wouldn't they be behind its legs? Isn't it in this photo they're in front of its legs?
And to me, I'm saying it looks like he's behind their legs. They're behind his legs. Like if you look at the wave they're on and follow it across, it's behind its back left leg. If they're say they're slightly in front of that wave, then, right?
Oh, whoa, yeah! I just had a whole perspective shift.
Right?
Jesus. I get what you mean when you look at the wave that they're on. Okay, yeah, that was weird.
No, I can understand what you're coming from because you're looking at it and you're like, oh, you know, they're just in front of his trunk. But then if you follow if you follow the vector lines,
Yeah.
it's like, whoa, they are like Zoe's just been like, ha, bye, meet me.
Yeah, he's walked like well past them.
Yeah, which makes sense
So weird.
because he's
like,
been
just
walking for a
shot
while.
in the head.
But now this brings up the question to me. It's like, okay, sweet. Is Zoe not dealing with those ships? Because that would be good to me if the world government is still active in this arc in some capacity. But then it's like, okay, the world government's active in this arc in some capacity, and that's apparently a force strong enough to take over Wano.
Mhm.
Like, their goal here is if Kaido and Big Mom go down, that the people on that ship are strong enough to militarize and take over Wano.
I think there's no way. I think there's no way that like I don't know because Luffy has to be done after this. Like he has to be almost dead. Basically get resurrected from death on a deal after this. So I can't see.
The only person I can see being semi-useful here is Sanji finally fulfilling his words to Kuma of being the most threatening person to the world government from the Straw Hat crew.
Yeah.
Like, if Sanji takes over, like, the weakened remnants of the Straw Hats and just jacks the shit out of these guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even then, it would be like, to be honest, I think like one team of CP0 members would be kind of all they could handle.
Mm-hmm.
Like some fodder Marines.
And
it's like you got to think like it's not just the power of the CP0 members, but they're also like I'd assume very coordinated and smart.
Mm-hmm.
And right now there's a crap load of chaos going on at Wano.
though, they would be taking full advantage of that. So it's not like it would just like the Straw Hats would get all the good engagements. They would probably get all the worst engagements that they can get.
But it's hard now, right? Because it's like that could just be bad paneling on Oda's part, and that they're still in front of Zoe, because that's how you first perceived it, right?
Yeah.
But like, if you're looking at that line, it's like, okay, Zoe looks like he's surpassed them, so he's not going to one-shot them.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, it's like, we've got the Big Mum Pirates underneath, so maybe they fight the Big Mum Pirates. That could make some sort of sense. But like, low-key, last time it took the Big Mum Pirates like a week and a half to get their shit together. Like, Big Mum showed up like 3 days into Wano, got knocked off the waterfall, and then it took them until this day, a week and a half later, to go up the waterfall again. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, arguably the Big Mum Pirates are still KO'd completely. In which case, it's like, Zoe shows up here first. Maybe the people of Wano get like bored Zoe. Maybe. But like, that's a bit of a that's a bit hard and a bit of a reach. You know what I mean? Especially when I think Zoe is significantly smaller than all of Wano. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you look at Zoe here, Zoe looks like it's probably about as big as some of those pillars. So Zoe's still like not going to reach to the top of Wano, potentially.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see the tip of Wano being around Zoe's head height here. So it makes it... Like, I'm curious that something's going to happen here, and I don't know what it's going to be and how it's going to affect it.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea what Zoe's role here would even be. It's really weird. Because, like, so far, like, Zoe can't talk directly to Luffy, as far as we know. Like, Luffy can't directly hear. It's like only
Momo can hear both Zoe and Luffy, but they can't hear each other, necessarily.
Yeah. So, like, unless they do some, like, weird mediating conversation. But, like, I can't imagine Zoe's just here just to, like, tell Luffy what Joy Boy's about. So, I don't know.
To me, Zoe could work as a ship big enough to house all of the injured people to leave without getting hurt.
Okay.
But then that leaves the Wano in a state of like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I don't see Zoe being able to... Like, I don't think every single citizen is in one place in Wano. And if they are...
And the idea as well is that, like, if Onigashima falls, it's gonna land on the flower capital anyway, right?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't just be evacuating people of Onigashima and then that's cool, we're all good. You have to actually stop Onigashima itself.
It'd be evacuate off Onigashima, get rid of Onigashima, then pick up, like, the flower capital and everyone in the flower capital, assuming the entire country's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, even then, it's like, okay, say they get it, Zoe's got a country on its back. Is it just going to carry the flower capital in its trunk? And if that's the case, the flower capital is probably a lot bigger than Zoe's trunk.
Yeah.
And, like, so it's
you
like...
reckon it's like continent pool? I don't know.
Scaling
also,
size-wise, it doesn't
the
match.
sword has to be mentioned at least, right? The sword just has to be mentioned.
I mean, dude,
Giant
at
sword.
this point in time...
Literally looks right now like the sword in the stone.
At this point in time, what's going to stop Luffy going giant and grabbing it?
Yeah, no, I saw like a meme of that. His arm just reaching off the roof and grabbing the handle.
Mm-hmm. But, like, there's nothing to necessarily stop him doing that, is there?
Not really, no.
But, like... It's messed up, to say the least.
I think it's one of those goofy things though, where it's like he would reach his arm out, grab it, pick it up, hold it in the air, and then he would go, "Oh,
And
it's too
punch.
heavy for me," and
No,
then
no.
just like start,
Pick it up,
and then just punch.
pick it up, and do what he did at the beginning of the arc, where he just punches holding the sword handle.
Yeah, it's just really heavy punch.
No, do you know what? I would laugh if that's a Supreme grade sword. the Ichidai Kitetsu.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, cause you know how Zoro's got like the need, like there's a Sandai, and then we saw the Nidai earlier on in the arc. If that's a supreme grade sword, but no one can use it because it's too big. And God has just kept it as an ornamental thing. It's like one of the 12 supreme grade swords that no one can use.
Yeah. Hey, shrink food or something like that.
Look, there's definitely like, there's definitely stuff that needs to be dealt with because now the fire's dealt with, right? We need to talk about evacuating the people, getting rid of Onigashima, whether it's plugging up that hole or getting everyone off the island to let the island fall or whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there still has to be, in some way, shape, or form, a moment where everyone's visually there to see Kaido knocked out. But then the problem that arises for me is we either as a country have to defend ourselves from the world government, or like defend ourselves from the world government and arrest Kaido and his crew. Like they're knocked out, yeah, but like you can't just leave them knocked out for 2 days, can you?
Yeah, true.
So it's like they have to be dealt with. Are you going to handcuff them? Or is that why the world government's here? So if we bail on Wano, the world government can arrest them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it makes it difficult. Because there has to be some sort of resolution in that capacity. And it's either allying with them after, or it's who handles them, who deals with them, who gets them. Because we've never had a Yonko crew go down. You know what I mean? There's no... Like, I mean, imagine the mass arrests needed for that.
Yeah, true.
Or even, like, it just turns into a mass execution where the only people that are left alive are, like, the freaking top 10 people. Like, say there is a CP0 squad on those ships, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just start mass murdering all the civilians, like, not the civilians, all the beast pirates, just, like, one-shot finger pistoling them all, like, for days.
Yeah, true.
And then it's like, we start a new cover story where, like, the beast pirates wake up and they try to save Kaido, who's been, like, arrested and is on another gigantic prison ship that he's broken out of 8 times already. Like, you understand what I mean? Because it's like, we were talking before about, like, whether or not Kaido would die or not, but it's like, dude, there's an awkward limbo here of, like, this needs to be addressed in some capacity moving forward, but how is it going to be addressed? Because it's going to, depending on how it's addressed, changes the entire back half of this arc.
Yeah.
Like, we've put off the party to have the biggest party in One Piece so far after this arc, haven't we?
Yeah, true.
But does that get delayed again, and the next party is at the end of One Piece itself? Or
It's true, because it could genuinely just be like, oh no, we finished this, now we have to quickly go do this. No, we finished this, now we have to go do this.
mm-hmm. Like,
Yeah.
and it could put a bit of a sour taste in the end of this arc, but it could work better for the series overall if the next time we party, it's everyone partying together. But it also robs a satisfying victory of Wano, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Can Zunisha catch Onigashima using its trunk? Like I was saying before, I think Onigashima is it's a touch bigger than Zoe's trunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe not, but like if you look at those ships, unless Zoe is well past those ships, right? Those ships are pretty big, and like size comparison wise, it's like I mean, I think we saw that trunk taking out Jack's ships, and Jack's ships were pretty big. So it was like 5 Jack's ships were the size of his trunk. So say those ships are big, or say like Zoe's further away. It's like that trunk still would struggle lifting up Onigashima. That's like Onigashima is probably the size of the country on Zoe's back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if Kaido died and his fruit is eaten by Usopp, Kabuto, like, he will be known as Kaido Slayer? That'd be funny. Or, I mean, worse, yeah, what if Zoe eats it? But because Zoe's got such long legs, he can't drown. So he becomes like the koi fish in the pond. You know what I mean? He becomes Darwin, a fish with legs.
It would be kind of cool to have like a dragon sword or something like that, like a dragon. Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine Zoro with the dragon sword?
Usopp just needs something because the thing is like right now people have gone so far past him. Like he's just nothing. Because like he used the perception haki once, but he just hasn't shown it since.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that like for a power up for Usopp right now is just being able to do that a lot, which would just make him like cool. You can hit targets now.
We can't
'Cause
even
Going forward, the level of people he's going to be fighting, you need that level of perception haki just to be able to hit them.
arguably
So
Izo's
it's
dead.
like, sure, you can hit them with a plant now.
Dude,
Good on you.
Arguably Izo's dead, so we don't even have the tutor anymore to be like, hey, Usopp, do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like at least like 6 months ago, you could be like, after this arc's over, like Usopp can get some pointers from Izo, and his sniping would go through the roof. He'd learn how to actually use observation haki or whatever. Nope. Bye, bitch.
Yeah. Nope.
And it's like, dude, if Usopp doesn't get this shit soon, Van Orga's gonna drop him.
Yeah, so easily.
Because, dude, Van Orga is literally sniping things over the bloody horizon line. And
the thing is, like, at this point, if Usopp got like a massive power up, like we've all been saying that he's going to get eventually when he goes to Elbaf, and like he becomes brave and all this stuff. Even if he gets that at this point, what a massive power up looks like for Usopp is just becoming
basic.
still Usopp level.
Yeah.
Like relative to the crew, because right now all of the crew have gotten power ups and he hasn't. So if he gets this massive power up, all that changes is that he's Usopp level again compared to the rest.
Mm-hmm. Which is rough. You know what I mean?
Sad, yeah.
I don't know, man. It's pretty crazy. Zoe would be catastrophic if it ate Kaido's fruit. Usopp just needs to learn that bullet technique of Izo. I mean, yeah, because, I mean, okay, you guys probably don't remember this, right? Do you remember how CP0 was introduced in this arc?
Mm-hmm.
Orochi shot one of them in the head with a pistol and it did nothing.
Yeah.
And then Izo one-shots one with a pistol to the gut. Izo,
true.
give us some of that.
Yeah, true.
Tell Usopp how to do that. Could you imagine if Usopp was shooting, like, his javelin, like, you know, like the bamboo spears, and they had Rio on them?
Yeah, right, yeah.
I mean, like, shit, the Kuja were doing that pre-time skip in mass, man. Please, someone teach this man. Someone, please, beat it into him. Also, some ninjutsu from Raizo since he's able to paralyze a person. See, the fact that Fukuro Juko can do that means it's not a devil fruit thing. If Usopp can learn how to paralyze someone, and then, on top of that, bring back the reject dial in, like, a ridiculous sniping ability, please. Could you imagine if the reject dial captures, like, one of Zoro's slashes or Sanji's kicks now?
Mm-hmm.
And because Usopp can shoot it, it doesn't do the damage to him. Have this man prep. Make him Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? We've been going for 3 hours and 15 minutes now.
I'm pretty happy.
Pretty happy?
I'm excited to see what is going on with the lightning. I was reading through the comments of this chapter, and I saw someone mention it, like, and I don't think it has that much to it, but that photo of Nika when it was like first, like, kind of like in that bubble, that he had a sword and a spear.
Yep.
He was saying that, like, maybe, like, Luffy has two quote-unquote weapons that are associated with his powers, and this guy's saying, like, the lightning bolt is one of them, and maybe he'll have, like, fire as the other one. I don't know. It seems interesting that, like, especially because, I mean, like, if Nika itself, which is literally his fruit, is depicted having two weapons, usually he would have two weapons because normally, if you ever see any like pictures of like gods, like that like Indian god of like war or something, and she has like 6 arms and all these different weapons. Every time she's actually shown, she always has all those weapons. You know what I
So
mean? Gods generally have the weapons that they're pictured with.
So I would say the difference to that is that might be where the concept of the world's greatest swordsman first came from. Because imagine Luffy with his awakening as a swordsman, where you've got rubber swords and spears, where if someone tries to attack you as a swordsman, it just like you do the Meliodas full counter.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? So it's like you know how they've talked in the past. It's like being Pirate King. That's harder than being the world's greatest swordsman. But Luffy and Zoro are like for the most part shown very parallel in the sense of their dream.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting that in a roundabout way they're both trying to go for the same dream for different ways. You know what I mean? Like Luffy's trying to surpass Joy Boy, who happened to be the world's greatest swordsman in his era, because he just happened to be a sword and spear user and just used Luffy's abilities as a swordsman. You know what I mean?
Right.
That could be a good way to sort of pair them and bring them into that sort of alignment again going forward. I could be wrong on that. Like that could be a bit of a reach. But like I saw that spear and that sword, and I was like, if you look at it, it's a small sword. You know what I mean? It looks like very flaily. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like
a wooden practicing sword.
yeah. So like imagine that being rubber and just bouncing stuff away, and then the spear just being like a jabbing, poking stick, and like. You know how they say, like, spears... Like, you know the Kaido's introduction was like, you know, spears shattered on him.
Yeah.
That spear wouldn't shatter. It would just bend until it just eventually stabbed you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting, though. I think here on out, people aren't going to be prepared for the 3 big flashbacks of the story, which is going to be the Rocks flashback, the... One Piece flashback with Joy Boy and the Sun God Nico flashback, because I think there might I think we will get the Joy Boy flashback in what like Laugh Tale and that, but I think there may be like a sub flashback off that that's like Joy Boy's not the first person to have the Sun God Nika fruit, but some of the inherited will, like Luffy inherited Roger's will, who inherited Joy Boy's will, who inherited Sun God Nika's will. If that makes sense. Like it may just keep going back more and more. You know what I mean? Because it's like Joy Boy seemingly like that image we see of Sun God Nika, right? With the sword and spear is seemingly different to what we imagine for Joy Boy. Because Joy Boy seems to be more potentially like a giant or something. Or other species. If that makes sense. Like, there's the references with the giant straw hat. Him being, like, in cahoots with the fishermen. And stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I think there could be... I think that could be separated there. If that makes sense. Which could make more sense in a way where if you've got... One Piece being the backstory of Joy Boy, Rocks could set up a different path where Rocks is like the Blackbeard equivalent of Joy Boy, and so Luffy to Sun God Nika would be Blackbeard to whoever Rocks inherited the will from, if that makes sense. Because it's like Luffy's a zone whose body's always rubber, right? Blackbeard's a Logia who's never intangible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've both got weird bodies. There could be something like really offset with that. You know what I'm saying? Where they could really parallel that in some other way, shape, or form. And then there's a whole theory about Blackbeard having a third mythical zone of some variety, which is possible. You know what I mean? It's just it's hard to say because at this point in time, speculation is just like really out there. Like a couple of weeks ago, people were crazy for saying that Luffy would have Sun God Nika's fruit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's just like, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. Haha, how did we never realize this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So it will be interesting going forward. Mind you, I will say, Raizo with prep time may be top tier in the Naruto verse. I'm not talking to like number one or anything like that, but it's like Raizo with enough prep time with his scrolls, he's like what people always wanted from 1010.
Yeah, true.
And he can counter most any ability that's elemental with the scrolls, which is pretty BS. Not to mention, and I'm not entirely sure on this, doesn't Raizo have Rio? Because didn't Raizo hurt Kaido at some point?
I remember what he did.
I know he did the
Stab.
scrolls. I think there's a few times where he's tried to cut and slice Kaido, but I don't think we've never... I think we've seen him try to do it, but we've never seen what the result of it was.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, he put knives to Kaido's throat, but we never saw, like, Kaido's throat cut and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
But still, like... My dude Raizo out here doing some BS. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, imagine... I'll tell you what. The fact that this is seawater as well, from Zoe, means there's a whole aspect of Devil Fruits interacting with water that we haven't dealt with yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still holding out hope for that moment Luffy turns water rubbery and can rebound it. Could you imagine, like, in a friendly fight, Jinbei tries to beat Luffy by wetting him, and Luffy just grabs the water and bounces it back, and it, like, while it's still rubbery, it, like, hits Jinbei in the face, and Jinbei's like, what the fuck? Alright. We've been going for about 3.5 hours now. I'm going to wrap up the stream. Anything else you want to say?
No, I'm all good.
Alright, sweet as peace. Nothing but love, nothing but respect. I know this was a quick ending. This has been going for a while now. Obviously, we're on break next week. So we may or may not do another video next week. And we may or may not do a stream on Wednesday too. Since you're still in lockdown, aren't you?
Yes.
So
I'll be finished on Wednesday.
on Wednesday? Do you feel like streaming on Wednesday?
If you want to.
Well, it'll depend on external conversations and motivations through the week, obviously. But keep an eye out for that sort of stuff. All right. So yo, nothing but love, nothing but respect. Thanks for coming. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for more notifications like this, all that good stuff. Peace. Have a damn good day. Nothing but love, nothing but respect. Goodbye.